Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Beeb. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, somewhere in there. Today, we're going to talk about Robbie, your boy, Amir Khan is back, and he signed with that wank Eddie Hernan Matchroom. Beeb, this is a big coup for you guys.
Yep. I don't know what he's going to do with Amir Khan. It's going to be interesting.
He's going to do what he does with all his other
fighters.
Well,
I've heard rumors on that. So
he's probably going to fight Jojo Dan first.
Amir Khan, Adrian Broner.
Going to fight Ted Cheeseman after that.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's triple,
but I don't know. I don't think he's going to chase Kell Brook up to 154 just yet.
No,
so
I didn't.
That's the fight. That's the fight that makes sense.
Didn't sound like it.
That's the big UK fight that we'd want to see, right?
Yeah. All right.
Well, I've heard a rumor. I've heard a rumor about him and Manny Pacquiao. I don't know.
We'll talk about the rumors a little bit later. Triple G and Canelo.
Okay.
Number 2, finally done. We'll tell you about it. And we're getting closer to an undisputed heavyweight champion. But first, we get started with Claressa Shields versus Tori Nelson, 10 rounds for Shields' IBF and WBC women's super middleweight title. Now, Shields won a unanimous decision yesterday. It was 190 on all the cards. She looked good. She did what she was supposed to do against a 41-year-old opponent. I say this about Shields, man. She's very busy. She throws a lot of punches, keeps working, and that'll make her tough to beat. I'm assuming the plan now is for Shields to drop down to 160 and face Christina Hammer. Shields is 168. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't overly impressed with Claressa Shields yesterday. And, I think there's a couple reasons why. And I think number one has to be the fact that she had a, what would be 41 or 42? How old was she? 42?
Old, yeah. She was 42 years old.
All right, so you got a 42. That's like, having your grandmother in front of you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you had a 42-year-old lady in front of you and you couldn't get rid of her. In her corner, her corner from like the 6th, 7th round on was saying, hey, get her out of here. She didn't go to the body enough. She's busy. And like I said, she's busy and I guess she hits hard. But not hard enough to get her out of there. And it could be her weight too, in the sense that she's at 168. Maybe it's a little bit too heavy for her. Maybe if she goes down in weight, she's going to get some more power. I don't know. I wasn't real impressed with Claressa Shields. And I don't see superstar on the horizon for her. Like everybody knows who Katie Taylor is. Everybody talks about her. But a lot of this is promotion too. Who's her promoter? Who's Shields' promoter? Does anybody know?
I really don't know. I think it's not a big time promoter. I think it's a local promoter.
Right. Again,
I'll have to find that out. Because I don't know for sure.
I don't understand the logic here of, especially if you're coming out of the Olympics, man, and you won the gold medal twice, which no other American in history has done in boxing anyway. And you don't get a promoter. It floors me how these guys come out here and there's no promoter to be found. You hear Deontay Wilder crying the blues about this. You hear Claressa Shields, and Claressa Shields not really crying about it, but she's not as well known as she should be. She should be as big as Katie Taylor right now. She should be well known and people know who she is here, but I don't know. I'm just not, get a promoter, man, get it in. And I think she needs to move down and there's nobody at 168 that anybody knows or that's anybody's worthwhile. start making your way down. Ronda Rousey was 160 pounds, I believe, when she got out of the Olympics, and she cut down. I think it was 135. Clarissa Shields, I'm not saying Clarissa Shields could go down that far, but, I don't know. Maybe she wants to consider a drop in weight. But, and even on a microphone, I'm not really that impressed with her either. I don't know. Beeb, what were your thoughts?
Well,
on
Eric,
this?
she did.
Yeah, this is crazy because when someone is so highly touted like this, instead of, looking for that they're doing, and I'm guilty of this so much on so many different occasions, I'm looking for things wrong because I want to know, where is all of this hype coming from? Where is all of the, the attention and all of this, potential greatness that we're being told that this woman can have. The gold medalist twice, pretty good amateur career. I think only lost once as an amateur, but at the end of the day, she did win every round. But Tori Nelson, 42 years old, coming off a 14-month layoff. Now she's been 10 rounds several times. She's never been stopped. And this was her first loss. But with all that being said, the perception was that Clarissa Shields was light years ahead of her in terms of skill and all around ability, athleticism, speed, power, the whole ball of wax. And it didn't translate into this performance. Now you say, well, it sounds crazy that I would be saying that because she won every single round. But when you're able to get off first every time, and you're able to really be ahead of your opponent at every turn because you're so much faster, you're so much athletically gifted, you have every physical attribute advantage over her that you could think of, and you're able to just hit her at will when you want to hit her and not be able to get her out of there. You could look at any top-level fighter, even top-level fighters that are not known to be knockout punchers. Is that great between them and their opponent, and they're able to do whatever they want. They're able to just hit their opponent consistently with regularity in the same fashion that Clarissa Shields was able to do. Then obviously you're going to get them out of there. Now let's give Tori Nelson credit for a few things here. She was really a big, strong type presence in there. And she was imposing her physicality on Clarissa Shields. She was able to really maneuver Clarissa Shields back to the ropes, kind of push her back, have her backing up a little bit. And she was walking through some of these shots. So she's a durable, big, strong woman. And let's make no mistake about it. She gave every ounce of effort that she had in her body. So we'll give her credit for that. And again, being 42 years old and being able to go a hard 10 rounds like that and to keep coming forward. And she was throwing punches. She just didn't have the hand speed. She just didn't have the fluid combination punching that Clarissa Shields has. But with all that being said, a couple things in this fight that I looked at, and I want to also piggyback off your opinion about her going down to 160 because it was mentioned after the fight by the commentators about maybe that being a possible reason why she can't get people out at 168. Maybe she needs to drop down to 160, and maybe her power would be a little bit more significant at that weight class. I was thinking that in this, and then lo and behold, the broadcast team said the same thing. But let's look at this fight a little bit. Let's look at some things here. She looked to be a little bit uncomfortable with the aggressiveness of Nelson. And she often complained to the ref about Nelson headbutting her. So if you watched, a lot of times Clarissa Shields will be throwing combinations kind of with her head leaned back a little bit. And she was turning the shots over. But in order to really generate power, you got to get down, bend down your knees a little bit, and you got to turn your whole body into it and turn your shoulder into the shot. And a lot of times she was throwing good combinations. They were quick. They were accurate. They were precise. But the thing is, you don't have to sit there and throw every punch like you're looking to take your opponent's head off, but you are supposed to punch through the bag when you're training. You're supposed to punch through the bag. And you can't punch through your opponent if you're upright and you're kind of leaning back and you're afraid to, step in and turn into your punches because you're afraid of getting headbutted from your opponent. So the way to avoid doing that is obviously you're going to throw the hand and you're going to kind of slide your head. Andre Wood's beautiful at this. When you watch him throw the right hand, he turns it over, and and I've always mentioned this about Andre Ward because when he makes an offensive movement, he's always, thinking defense simultaneously at the same time. So he's already positioning himself not only to land his shot, but to position himself out of the line of fire of his opponent. And that's something Claressa Shields needs to learn. And not only that, she was squaring up at times when she was allowing, and I'm not going to say she was allowing, we have to give Nelson credit for her strength and her aggressiveness. Nelson was pushing her back up against the ropes, but she just didn't have the reflexes, the timing, and the hand speed to really capitalize on the position she was in, because it was advantageous to her to be able to push Shields back against the ropes and get inside the pocket and fight her close up inside the phone booth. That was her best chance of winning. And she was able to put herself in that position a lot because it seemed like she was able to kind of, I'm not going to say bully, but she was able to impose her strength and her aggressiveness and a little bit of her will on Claressa Shields, and had Claressa Shields complaining to the ref, which I really didn't see any headbutts, but maybe she felt as though the way she was coming in. With all that being said, it's good to throw a lot of punches. It's great as an amateur. It's the pat, 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 pat. But going back to what I said, you have to mix one of those big shots in, and you got to turn. And that's just like when her corner was saying, okay, you got to shorten up that right hand. Okay, when you shorten up the right hand, you're just like, bap. When you're inside, bap. Just all it is you don't even really have to, extend fully on the punch and really turn it over at long range. You could generate a lot of explosiveness, turning your shoulder and leaning forward just a little bit, hit. And you could just generate it. Like, you could just turn it on. A short move. Boom. So you're inside throwing combinations. You're like this. Just turn your shoulder into one of those and leverage on that. Results out of that. So she needs to commit to some of these punches. So every punch like that, you can hit your opponent at will. On one of those shots and they punch at her tension. You know what I'm saying? Because she never really committed in this fight. And I know that sounds ridiculous because she did land some clean shots and you saw Nelson's head snap back a little bit, but Nelson was walking through these shots. So she's going to have to learn how to, position her body a little bit better, particularly when she's up close in the pocket. She's going to have to, dip to the side a little bit and really create angles where she can get some good leverage on her shots. Because if you're standing straight up like this and you're fighting inside, you're not really going to generate a lot of power. You got to get down there, twist your shoulders off a little bit, turn it into shots and get down low and drop down, have your head off to the side, then rip the body. You got to really learn how to get leverage on that. And that's all, as I said, positioning and, just being able to really get as much body behind your punches as you can. And I don't think she's doing that. And that's going to be a problem. I think she's getting by solely on just being better in terms of hand speed athlete than a lot of these opponents.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now when she meets someone who's seasoned? But we don't even know if there's anyone. Like, for instance, you could look at Ann Wolfe. Yeah. Even the coal miner's daughter, Christy Martin, back in the day. Watch, she wasn't the greatest defensive fighter in the world, but watch how she turned her punches over. wham. She wasn't like this, like throwing arm punches. She was like wham, coming over the top. And that hip was coming with that. She was turning those shots over and really twisting into those punches. And Claressa Shields is going to have to start doing that if she's going to get some of these girls out of here that she has an overwhelming. And we'll give Claressa Shields credit on a couple things here. Sure. Very good jab. She throws the right punches at the right time. Position. Going to throw a right hand, and always a left hook is coming behind it. You don't have to tell her, hey, So she's got that sense of awareness in there, and good ring instincts in there, and she can shot. She can place her shots well. It's just she's got to turn her body into some of these punches and bend her knees when she's up close and commit to these shots a little better, especially and again, I'm sounding redundant here, significant hand speed advantage over somebody. Yeah. Significant hand speed advantage over somebody. Why even fight them on the inside? Because you're going to be keep them on the at the end of your punches on the outside. You're only giving your opponent a scoring on you, and you're actually giving up your hand speed advantage when you invite your opponent inside. So the ropes a little bit too much here. Even though she was being pushed back, we give Nelson credit for being able to do that with her pressure. The presence of mind. She feels her back up against the ropes. She can't stay there as long as she did. She's got to utilize her advantages a little bit more, and she's got to put her body in, behind some of these shots, in my opinion. And change when she drops down to 160. Will she be a little bit more explosive? Will she have a little bit more snap on the shots? Again, she's still got to learn body positioning, turning her whole body and putting as much body behind her shots. She has that open shot. Because when you have that open shot, you got to make it count.
Now, let me ask you a question, because she's still young and everything like that. What is this, her fifth pro fight or something like that, fifth or sixth?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say she's still learning that transition from amateur to pro?
Absolutely. And going back to what I said, it sounds ridiculous that I'm critiquing her so hard after only having 5 fights.
Right.
But the reason why we do this is because she was so highly touted.
Right.
And I fall into this. I'm guilty of this. Because if I just saw her and she wasn't as highly touted as she was, I probably wouldn't be going as hard on her as I am right now. But because the perception and how she was so highly decorated and all this and that, same thing with Lomachenko. He wasn't supposed to lose to Salido. That fight was not supposed to be as competitive as it was. You can say what you want. And he rebounded from that fight, and he's, moved on, and he's kind of learned from that fight, what have you. And I'm sure, as you said, Claressa Shields is still in that learning stages. She can still get better. But, fall into is I'm trying to diffuse the hype now. I'm trying to say, well, where's all this hype coming from? It's not translating to me in the ring. It's not always fair. And in this case, it's probably not fair either. This girl won every single round. She shut her out. But the thing is, this is also a compliment to her, because she's so, and this is with all due respect to Tori Nelson, because I give her full credit too. 42 years old, going 10 rounds, never being stopped. And she never gave up in there. She was trying to win. She was trying to win, never got discouraged. I mean, if that's anyone else in there, imagine going into a situation where everything you do, nothing is working, and you can't stop what your opponent is doing. The only thing you can do is, move her and push her back. But once you get her where you want her, you still can't do what you want to do. That's the most mentally debilitating thing in the world. And to be able to overcome that speaks volumes about this woman. But in the same token, this is a compliment to Claressa Shields, because she has so much more natural talent than Nelson, that of course the expectations is going to be higher. And I think she can do better than what she did yesterday. I think after watching the tape, she's going to go home and say, I could do better too.
Robert, what were your thoughts on Claressa Shields in this fight?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to really judge a fight like this thoroughly because the women fight under different rules than the men do. This is why I've always harped on if we're gonna watch female fights and we're gonna cover them the way we've covered this one, they need to fight under the same conditions and the same rules.
Well, what was different aside from 2 minutes versus 3 minutes?
Yeah. Now, I think she did a good job. I'm going to support a fighter who actually goes rounds because, look, we don't want her competition to be so easy to where every time we see her fight, she's going to thoroughly destroy them within a round or two. I'm glad for her sake that she went 10 rounds. Yes, she's got a lot of things to work on. Yes, I think she's too heavy in there. And she did say after the fight that she is going to go down to 160, and they are going to try to make the Christina Hammer fight happen. So we'll see if that happens. But when it comes to women fighting, because they fight 2-minute rounds, it's kind of hard to judge how good they're actually going to be. I wish that they would fight under the same rules as the men do. And you can call that sexist if you want, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, what's the only difference in the rules? Right. It's just 2 minutes and 3 minutes.
I mean, how was it hard?
Fundamentals of the sport.
Well, because Joe, you were questioning her stamina in there because she was taking a rest on the ropes. Okay, if she was fighting 3-minute rounds, we could really judge that more thoroughly because we can compare that to other performances of hers if the rules were exactly the same each time she fought. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Okay, I respect your opinion on the 2 minute to 3 minute, but let me ask you this question.
Okay.
That fight's 3 minutes. That fight has 3-minute rounds in it. Does it play out any differently?
Right.
No, it does not. Okay. But I give both of them credit. Well, number one, I think Shields needs rounds. It's only her 5th fight, so I think it's good for her to go rounds. And I'm glad they found somebody. She's 20 years older than her, but I'm glad they found somebody that could actually take her some rounds. Did she learn anything because she dominated? Probably not. But the more work a fighter gets, I think the better off they are in the long run, whether they're men or women in this case.
And just for the record, I would prefer that the rounds be 3 minutes as well.
I do too. Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
5 minutes in MMA. I mean, it's 5 minutes for both men and women in MMA. There's no real difference in rules. So I don't understand why it's not 3 minutes, but until they, come of age and decide to, be equal, it's going to be 2 minutes. I don't understand it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly.
No, it doesn't.
I totally agree with you on that one, Robbie.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you. But
no.
So, yeah, I mean, they say Hammer is next for her, and honestly, I don't see Hammer, doing too much against Shields. I think Shields beats her. I think she's bigger, stronger. I think she's busier. I think the thing that's going to set Claressa apart is she's just busier than the other fighters, and that's tough to beat.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to sit down. I think, if she sat down and, like Beeb says, try to get people out of there and sat down on her punches, she might be more exciting, might be looking to make a name for her.
Yeah. Go back and watch her throw punches, Eric, and really look for what I'm talking about and see if she's actually really turning her shots over. I don't think she's turning her shots over.
Wood's in the chat, and he says that Salida Promotions he thinks that Salida Promotions promotes Claressa Shields. They've been involved with at least 3 of her fights. So Salida Promotions.
Okay.
And I'm kind of wondering.
Thank you, Wood.
I don't know, like if she had better options, or because I know who Salida Promotions is, obviously, but I mean, you think there'd be bigger options for her, but maybe not. So maybe she's just doing what she can until she gets better fights. I don't know. All right, let's move ahead here. The second fight on the card. I know this wasn't the second fight. We're going to move out of order here. Shojahan Ergashev versus Sonny Fredrickson from Toledo, Ohio. 8 rounds, junior welterweights. Let me tell you what, man, Ergashev looked really, really impressive in this fight. For a guy with only 10 pro fights coming in, he looked like a seasoned vet in there, and he clearly outmatched Sonny Fredrickson. The fight was stopped in the third round at 1 minute and 58 seconds. And I tell you what, I am really looking forward to seeing Ergashev again. He looked very good. He was hard to hit. I mean, he looked very, very good. As for Sonny Fredrickson, what a disappointment this was, man. And I'm not sure, I'll be honest, man, I'm not sure where he goes from here. This was a big fight for him, and it was a bad, bad matchup. Fredrickson, quite honestly, looked like an amateur out there with this guy. He had his hands down at times after throwing punches. His defense was suspect. I mean, he was getting hit left and right out there. And then he couldn't hit Ergashev with anything meaningful. He was just exposed, and you have to wonder if he can come back from this and where he goes from here. Just very disappointing for Fredrickson, man. Especially a guy that, we hear a lot about in Ohio and stuff, and talking about him coming up and this and that. But yeah, he didn't look good at all, man. Not at all. Robert, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, when you're a young prospect like Fredrickson, and you're coming up, and all of a sudden you get tapped on the shoulder by Showtime and say, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We're going to start exposing you. We're going to put you on the Showtime Showbox series." That's supposed to be your beginning highlight. And he basically failed on the big stage. National TV lights, couldn't handle it. And he was in there with a Russian killer. Here comes another Russian, Ukraine type, Soviet type fighter. They've all looked good lately. Every time Showbox has put one of these guys on there, they've pretty much destroyed everybody that they've been matched up against. I felt bad for Sonny because I know we've interviewed him, and Eric, you've been behind him because he's from Ohio, but this was not a good look, man. I don't know how you recover from that.
I don't think you do. I think he's done. I mean, you talk about one loss and him being done, but I mean, look, man, this was a big step up for him. I mean, fighting a guy that, they're bringing in, and he just got murked out there. I mean, he looked awful. I mean, he was getting hit with just shots that I thought, like, when I was like, man, he shouldn't be getting hit with those type of shots. He's leaving himself open in the inside. I mean, he just didn't look good. And I don't know if that guy got in his head at the weigh-in. I know there was some tussling at the weigh-in, but listen, man, that's when you're young, undefeated, and get crushed like that in 3 rounds. That's tough. That's a tough thing to come back from, man. I don't know. So, all right, let's move ahead here. Jesse Hernandez versus Ernesto Garza. 10 rounds, junior featherweights. Hernandez wins this one via split decision. Scores were 95-93 for Garza, 95-94, and 97-93 for Hernandez. Robert, I thought this was a pretty good fight. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was the best fight on the whole card. It was a very good fight. I guess the right guy won, but it was competitive enough that if Showbox decided they wanted to match these two up again, I wouldn't have any objections.
Yeah, I don't want to see these two guys fight again. They already fought, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a good fight.
Yeah. Guy won, one guy lost. Put them both on, but against different guys. I like seeing both on against different guys. All right, let's move ahead to the upcoming schedule here. Upcoming fights. January 17th in Australia, Anthony Mundine versus Tommy Brown, 12 rounds, super middleweights. You'll have to catch that on YouTube or something like that. It doesn't look like it's televised, but if you're in Australia, I'm sure it'll be televised there. January 20th, and that's Saturday, right?
Yep.
Correct, it is.
From New York on Showtime, Errol Spence Jr. versus Lamont Peterson, 12 rounds for Spence's newly won IBF welterweight title. Titletown's own Robert Easter Jr. versus Javier Fortuna, 12 rounds for Easter's IBF lightweight title. And I think that might be all that's on there. Adam Kanaki versus Iago Kiladze, heavyweights, and Marcus Brown versus Francine Natitu, 10 rounds light heavyweights. Anthony Peterson versus Luis Flores, 10 rounds junior welterweights. So, and I don't think any of those are going to be on TV. So, on BN Sports from Mexico City, Emmanuel Navarrete versus Glenn Porras, 10 rounds featherweights. And I think that's going to do it for this weekend's action. Excuse me. And let's talk about Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson. This is a good fight. This is a pretty good fight, man. I think it's I'll say this. I think it's a good test. It's a good test for Errol Spence. Lamont Peterson is a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. I just don't think he's going to have enough to beat Errol Spence. And I think it may be competitive for the first 4 rounds. After that, I think Spence is too big, too strong, does too much body work. And I think Spence gets him out of there in 10 rounds. I don't think that Peterson's going to have enough. I mean, he's going to have more than he can deal with here with Spence. Spence is just, like I said, man, I think he's the best fighter out there. I've said that for a long time. I've said it coming up. Now that he's a champ, I think he's the best welterweight out there. I don't think anybody in the division can touch him. I really don't. And that excludes Crawford because he's not there yet. He hasn't had a fight at I want to see Crawford fight at welterweight before, we start saying, hey, that's a legitimate, he's a legitimate contender for a guy like Spence. But right now, Spence is the only one in the division. I think Spence is the best one in the division, not just by a little bit, by like miles. And he's heads and tails above everybody else in this division right now. So I think Spence wins. I think he knocks him out, and I think he does it within 10 rounds. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Well, again, the old cliche, the old adage, styles make fights. And we saw Lamont Peterson get knocked out by Lucas Matisse in 2 rounds. And you could say, yeah, maybe he got caught cold or what have you. But then we see Lamont Peterson turn in one of the greatest performances of his career, arguably the best performance in his career, against Danny Garcia, which I scored that fight 115-113 for Lamont Peterson. I thought he won the fight.
Thought he did too.
And the difference is Danny Garcia has never really been a good inside fighter. And Lamont Peterson, that's his bread and butter. He's a great inside fighter. Going back to what I said about what Clarissa Shields needs to do, Lamont Peterson does. He does bend his knees. He does, turn his shoulders off to the side a little bit. And he does twist into the shots. And he does dip off to the sides and rip the body, and he does those nice wraparounds with the left hook and the looping right hands downstairs. And he puts shots together when he's in that pocket. He's a handful for anyone in that pocket. But that's Errol Spence's game. Look what Errol Spence did to Kell Brook. How he just walked him down, pinned him on the ropes, got in this guy's chest, and set up shop there and said, you know what? This is my house. I'm not going anywhere. You got me in your face right now. What are you going to do about it? And he got in there, and he just ripped Kell Brook's body to shreds. He softened him up downstairs. He started coming upstairs with the short hooks and the short looping right hands, and he got him out of there. And I love Lamont Peterson. He's the guy you want to root for in this sport. The guy, from what this guy has been able to overcome and being able to become a champion at 140, and I guess at 147 he was a WBA regular titleist or whatever. Again, he's fought the who's who of the 140, and he seems to be getting ready to fight the who's who of 147. Had some, decent fights at 147 too. But the problem here is this is just the wrong style matchup for him, because, as I said, he's going to try and set up shop deep in the pocket, and he's going to find out that he's going to be outgunned. This is going to be like bringing, a pair of 38s in there with the guy who's got, 2 MAC-10s by his side, and he's just not going to be able to deal with that. And that's not to say that Lamont Peterson's not a good fighter. That's not to say that Lamont Peterson doesn't deserve this fight. That's not to say that, I don't care if he's ranked 5. You want to go by rankings, Romain Sturm is ranked number 1. I mean, it is what it is. Rankings don't mean a lot in this sport anymore when you have these sanctioning bodies. Jeff Horn was ranked number 1 against Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, he won, but going into that fight, what did everyone say, Robbie? Who the fuck is Jeff Horn? So
That's
I'm glad Lamont Peterson got the shot. I'm glad that he's ranked number 5 so he can have the shot. A whole hell of a lot. That doesn't mean when you're in there with the guy who is just better. He's just better in every area. He's better. He is better in every area. And like Eric said, this guy's a problem, Errol Spence. When you got guys in the division who are openly saying, hey, we're in no rush to fight this guy, Lamont Peterson has no choice because he doesn't know when he's going to get the call again. He can't call shots. So he's going to take the fight. And I'm glad that he got the fight and he got the payday. It's not going to change my perception of this matchup. Stopped in about 8 or 9 rounds, so I'm not too far off from you. See him finishing this fight on his feet. I can't see it. And that's just my whole opinion on this thing. On him, I think Errol Spence is.
Yeah. I can't see it any other way. Robert, what about you? How do you see this
I'm
fight
going to
going?
I'm going to make this a unanimous decision. We don't have to say who the fuck is Lamont Peterson because everybody who follows this sport knows who Lamont Peterson is. Jeff Horn. That's right. We don't have to say that about Lamont Peterson. Great props, great respect to Lamont Peterson for what he's accomplished and what he's had to overcome in his lifetime. But he is in way over his head. The waters are too deep. And this guy is he's the top of the division. And I have a feeling until one day he meets up with somebody like Terrence Crawford, he's going to be the top of the welterweight division for as long as he wants to be there. Lamont Peterson is going to get run over. He's going to get destroyed. And is it going to end early? No, because Lamont Peterson is a durable fighter. The only time he's been stopped that I know of was by Matisse, and I think he just got caught cold very early in the fight. But Errol Spence is head and above Lamont Peterson and every other 147-pounder in his weight class, and he's going to show that on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, what about the Robert Easter fight? Robert Easter versus Javier Fortuna. I think that Easter wins this. I think he wins it pretty easily. I think Easter's just that guy. Easter's a guy that's going to give anybody that comes in there with his height, with his reach, with his size, with his power. He's going to give anybody that comes in there problems. And he's fought some guys. He's had some close decisions, but he's come out on top on all of them. And I think he does it again here with Fortuna. I think it's an easier fight for him. Obviously, no fight in there is going to be easy. But I think it's an easier fight for him, and I think he wins fairly easy. Beeb, what about you?
In that same type of pressure and aggressiveness that Shabakov brought, Easter is going to have a little bit more comfort in this fight, knowing that he can kind of dictate the range and dictate the geography and the pace of this fight. And I think he'll be able to deal with Fortuna on the outside pretty well, because Fortuna is another guy on the outside as well. He likes to be the counter puncher. And unfortunately, he just doesn't have the physical dimensions to employ his style successfully against a guy like Robert Easter, who, does a lot of the same things in terms of the way he approaches the fight. Robert Easter can mix it up. He can get in there and be a dog when he wants to. But he utilizes his height and reach, and he fights very well on the outside. And Fortuna is not going to get in his chest, and he's not going to make it a dog fight. So I agree with you, Eric. I think this is a fight where I think some target practice from the outside, and I think he's going to be able to pot shot from the outside very well in this fight, and not really the most durable guy in the world either. So I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Easter got him out of there, and I don't think he'd get him out of there quick because again, he's a methodical guy who likes to let the fight play out a little bit. He's really aggressive. He likes to feel his way through the fight, but I think he's seasoned enough to know and smart enough to know when he has his opponent hurt and get him out of this. So I'm looking for again another 8-9 round stoppage in this fight as well for Robert Easter, but it could go the distance as well. But I'm going to pick him by stoppage in this fight, late round stoppage.
There you go. Before we go to Robert for his pick, the Saints, if anybody's interested in the NFL right now, the playoffs are going on. The Saints just scored. It's 21-20 with about 3 minutes left in the fourth. Robert, what were your
I was just going to say that. As far as Robert Easter goes, he's got a tremendous size advantage. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he has he's got a major. I know he's got a major height advantage because he's 5'11", but I bet you the reach is just going to be tremendous in this fight, and he's going to dominate on his boxing skills alone. Because he's a great outside fighter. There's nobody in the weight class who can match him size-wise. And this is going to be a walk in the park for him. I don't know if he stops him or not because Fortuna has been stopped, but I don't know if Robert is going to do that or not. I think this is going to be a walk in the park. It wouldn't surprise me if he takes it the full 12 rounds and he wins it wide on the scorecards. And hopefully after this, we get Robert some serious competition in his own division, because Robert needs to be matched up with people that have got skills like he does. Now, there's nobody size-wise, that, as far as his height is concerned, that's going to be able to match him. But I'd like to see him in there against somebody that can offer the same kind of skills that Robert does. And unfortunately for Javier Fortuna, it ain't him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, before we go to the phones, let's talk about some news and rumors real quick, and then we're going to go to the phones. We're going to talk about this first topic here. Triple G and Canelo is just about set for May 5th. According to the WBC, Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez will rematch on May 5th. Now, the big sticking point here is it's not, from what I understand, everything has been agreed upon. Everything is good, with the exception of the site. The site has not yet been determined, but the two sites being considered are Madison Square Garden in New York and the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So, hey, I mean, both are really good sites. I mean, I've been to T-Mobile, been to Madison Square Garden. That's just an unbelievable, just a beautiful arena. You really can't go wrong with either one. So that's kind of what they're up in the air with. I think, my guess is that it's going to be in T-Mobile. They're not going to want to fight outside of, they're not going to want to fight outside of that West Coast area unless it's in Texas or something like that. This is not in Texas. Madison Square would be a big advantage for Golovkin there. That he's got a ton of fans out there. So yeah, I don't know, man. What would anybody have any thoughts on this? Robert, you're a big Triple G guy.
Yeah, I heard an interview. I heard an interview with Tom Loeffler on Monday, and he said that is the only sticking point. Canelo obviously wants it in Vegas, and Triple G wants it in Madison Square Garden because he's afraid that we're going to get another weird scorecard in Vegas. That's what Tom said. So hopefully they can work something out. And I would love to see it in New York. I think that would be wonderful. Have Canelo and Golovkin fighting in Madison Square. Talk about big events for the most famous arena in the United States. Hell, sign me up for that. I'll take it. I would rather see this fight in New York than Las Vegas, to be honest. I'm glad they're going to fight, but I hope it's in Madison Square. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, if that's in New York, I may end up going to that fight.
Absolutely.
So, I was thinking the same thing too. That too. Canelo fought Cotto and MSG, so and all of the controversy surrounding the last fight because of it being in Vegas and scorecard. I think everyone would be happy, except for probably Canelo, if this fight was in New York. First and foremost, Triple G, and secondly, the fans. I don't think I'd want to. I don't want this fight to be in Vegas now after what I saw the first time.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, Adelaide Bird is not going to judge, but I don't know. And
Yeah, no, they got a lot. Like look at was it Feldman too? At the 7th round, the round that Golovkin, and he scored a Canelo. One of Triple G's best rounds of the fight. Correctly, then the fight's 115, 113 for Golovkin, and Golovkin wins.
That's right.
So
there's
a lot of doozies in Vegas, and this to end the same way. I want this to be clear and concise, and I want this to just have finality to it. I don't want any cloud hanging over this one.
Listen, I know I'm in the minority here. But I have 100% zero interest in this fight.
Really?
I do. I have no interest in this fight.
Okay.
I have no interest in seeing this fight again. I already saw it, and the guy won. I saw one guy decisively win 8 rounds to 4, somewhere along those lines. I don't need to see it again. There's nothing there. Now, would I favor Canelo in a rematch? Yeah, absolutely. I picked Canelo the first time. I would pick Canelo the second time just because Triple G is older. He's, and he's already been in there with him. I always.
Hey, remember, guys, I picked Triple G, but I scored it for Canelo. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
This is the amazing thing about this fight, and this is what makes it so intriguing. People who pick Triple G first fight, they're actually going with Canelo in the rematch. Now, I had this fight close. I had it 115 for Golovkin, and if I take one round and give it to Canelo as a draw. I mean, a draw is not out of the realm of possibility in this fight, in my opinion. I'm already saying that. But, I just think that looking at the circumstances and looking at that Adelaide Bird scorecard and look at the Feldman scorecard, was scored incorrectly. If everything is done the way it was supposed to be done in this fight, then Golovkin wins. And based off of that, I got to see if this was just a little bit starstruck because this was his real first big fight on the big stage. Getting old, and has he slipped that much where Canelo is better, at this point in his career? That's what I need to know. And I think if you really look at those few things and a couple of those factors, it's really intriguing. And maybe you don't like the fight now because of how it ended, what you thought should have happened or how you scored the fight or whatever. But I don't know. I think that if it gets signed and then the build up and then about it, hey, is Triple G really done now? Is he past his prime? Is it over for him? The guy that should have the torch past him. I think if you look at it like that, I think the fight becomes intriguing, and I think maybe you may change your mind later down the road. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think that, I just, and as the fight gets closer, obviously I'm going to have more interest in it, but, and I'll definitely watch it. But right now, for me, the fight would be like seeing Thurman Porter again. Sean Porter and Keith Thurman again. I already saw the fight. It was a close fight. It was a good fight, but a guy won. And he there was no dispute about it. He won the fight, and the same thing with this fight. One guy.
Yeah, I thought Golovkin won. Yeah, I really thought Golovkin
I did too, So yeah, I don't know. All right, let's go to the phones here. 937. I think this is Wood. 937. Yep. You're live.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Wood, not to interrupt you, just real quick. The Vikings just kicked the field goal with 1:29 left in the fourth quarter. Minnesota 23, New Orleans Saints 21, 1:29 remaining. Go ahead, Wood.
And they only have one timeout left when they get the ball back. Go ahead, Wood.
This guy.
That's a whole quarter for the Saints.
All they got to do is get in the field goal range.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to disagree with everybody. Going back to Shields for just a second, I'm not trying to disagree with Beeb or anything, but I don't understand why we're picking her apart. And Beeb did mention that, his reasons why, but it's not like she's headlining regular Showtime boxing or Showtime championship boxing cards. I mean, she's getting some love on like their secondary product, which is Showbox. A couple of them have been in Detroit. It seems like a decent business move by Showtime to try to get out in women's boxing and invest in it a little bit. She's the one with the easiest name to sell. So to me, it only really makes sense. I mean, we see on this one that they added Franchon Cruz Dezern to the card. Hammer was supposed to fight on there. So, I mean, it's just a venture that Showtime is going in. And I think her manager is this guy named Taffeta, who I believe he had something to do with HBO boxing at one time or something. But it's not like they're giving her the love that some people may say is happening with Lomachenko.
No.
They're putting some cards around her that make sense. It's a lot of guys out of Detroit or in the region that are getting opportunities to fight on a bigger platform because of her. So I think it's good. It's good for what they're trying to do. Well, and then lastly, like I'm with Robbie on this 2 minutes thing. I mean, how many times have we seen guys get hit flush, in the first minute of a fight or the first couple rounds, guys can really take shots well, and then later in the fight those same shots knock a guy out or something. I mean, this 2 minute stuff, by the time they get in the ring and start bouncing around and get loosened up for that round and get into their rhythm for that round, the damn round is almost up. So I don't think the 2 minutes really allows these women to accumulate the punishment to get a knockout. And then if we look at the women's game, who the hell else is knocking anybody out? They're all going to decision. I mean, Amanda Serrano's going to decisions. Michaela, yeah, I mean, who is knocking anybody out in the women? Katie Taylor just had a rough fight with McCaskill last month. Mm-hmm. Nobody's knocking anybody out in one or two punches or, one punch shots. So this other Michaela Mayer, she just boxed, 6 or 8 rounds with this girl on one of the last cards that was on TV. Or actually, I think she was on. I didn't even mention the other part of this. Not only are they not fighting 2 minute, not fighting 3 minute rounds, but you have your title fight in the female division only be 10 rounds. Come on, if you're going to have a title fight, everybody fights under the same rules. It's got to be 12 rounds and it's got to be 3 minutes. Well, further to my point, like you said, I just don't think we're condensing the amount of time that they have to do what they're trying to get done. And it just seems like an artificial, environment for what we see in boxing. So it's almost like I said, I just typed in the chat room. It's like women's tennis where it's best 2 out of 3 versus, best 3 out of 5 sets and whatnot. I just don't think it really lends. I don't really think it lends itself to us seeing somebody really get knocked out. That the punishment accumulation, stamina factoring in, and all of that. I just don't think we're seeing that in 2 minutes.
No, if you want the legitimate boxing, hardcore boxing fan to get behind female boxing, you have to convince them that A, the person's worth getting behind, B, that they're capable of doing things in the ring to get somebody's attention, and C, you gotta play under the same rules. That's why I don't follow the tennis, because the tennis is, you're right. Women's tennis is 2 out of 3 sets. Men's tennis is 3 out of 5. I mean, if women want to be equal in things like women have been complaining about over the years, and I don't mean this to sound sexist, but you got to play under the same rules.
And then lastly, to move on from that, I mean, I don't think that it's necessary that she's necessarily a KO specialist or anything. I mean, guys like Polly, Malignaggi had his career. Ward was never really a big knockout guy. I mean, there's been plenty of male boxers who weren't getting guys out of there. I mean, Floyd, he's 26, 25 knockouts or something.
26.
So she might not be that type of fighter, but to go in there and outskill opponents and all of that, and let's be honest, a lot of stuff is going to happen. The women's ranks is really going to have to fill up and, materialize and have some intriguing stories for her to ever headline, a Saturday night card on Showtime Boxing or if she goes to HBO or something. It's just not happening.
Yeah, I think, and to your point, let me
I couldn't agree more.
Let me talk about Claressa Shields and why we are kind of harsh on her, kind of hard on her in the sense that, she's won 2 gold medals, which is something no American has done. So a lot, listen, man, when you have that kind of credential, a lot is expected of you when you come out, and you have to be ready for that. Now, whether fair or unfair, that's the case. I mean, if you win 2 gold medals and you come out, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you. Look at De La Hoya when he came out, how much pressure was on him. It's just, it happens to be, it's
but she
one
has
of those things.
She has 2 stoppages in 5 fights, and then a third one with the clean sweep on it. Yes, the lady was 41 years old, but what is she not doing?
Well, that's
besides holding a public execution in there.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, is that you ask, like, what is she not doing? That lady was 42 years old last night. And her corner was, I mean, you saw her corner. I mean, right around the 6th, 7th round, they were saying, get her out of there. They were pleading with them to get her out of there. Did you think she threw enough body shots to get her out of there?
No, I didn't. I mean, to Beeb's point, no, I thought she went away from the body. I think she was looking for the headbutt and some different things. Mm-hmm. I don't think that she committed to the body to help, degrade an older fighter like that. But I don't know. I mean, look, Franchine Cruz went 6 rounds in her fight. It wasn't televised Friday night, but she went the distance in her fight with some girl out of Carolina or something. Again, I'm just saying, tell me some women right now who you've seen fight who are putting anybody out. Like I just saw Serrano the last 2 times I went to Brooklyn. She did stop one girl, but that girl was really didn't have any business being in the ring. Right. I just think we need to scale back our expectations a little bit and get a better feel for what the women's game is right now. What does power look like on the women's side? Like I said, nobody is knocking anybody out right now.
Well, I think that's a fair point.
It's somebody that's just terribly outmatched.
Right. And I'll tell you, the other thing too is that it's hard to knock somebody out in 2 minutes with 2-minute rounds. I mean, you're looking at this and you're saying, here's a title fight going 20 minutes instead of 36 minutes. That's a big difference. I mean,
that's a big difference.
16 extra minutes to put somebody away. I mean, that's, and with a 3 minutes, it's, you tend to get, clearly it's harder boxing 3 minutes than it is 2 minutes. It's harder going 12 rounds in 10. I really do think if they're going to be taken seriously and if they're going to create any superstars, any kind of drive and put some backing behind the women's division in boxing, you're going to need to compete under the same rules. And there's no reason you can't. And if you ask those women, they will want to compete under the same rules.
And a lot of these women are sparring males during training camp. So, I'm saying that they're training to perform like men boxers. So to get in here and put them into the limitations of 2 minutes, I just think it's foolish. But hey, that's something they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hey, Eric, a quick note on the Sonny Fredrickson. His management people released a tweet that his jaw was broken Friday night.
And what during the fight?
I'm not surprised.
I'm assuming during the fight.
Say what?
I said I'm assuming it happened during the fight. What did you think of Fredrickson's performance? Because you and I both interviewed him. We both followed his career and everything like that. What were your thoughts on his performance?
You know, I talked to him maybe it was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the whole team maybe didn't understand what they were up against. Like maybe they took that guy a little light.
Really?
If you know anything about them, they have a guy who I've had on my podcast, but Mike Leonardi, who works the corner with Value Jack. He's like his third man, you know, not the cut man, but the third man in Value Jack's corner. I don't believe he was at that fight Friday night. And not saying that his regular trainer isn't up to speed, you know, to get him through that, but that just caught my eye. Like this is his biggest moment, and Sonny is one of their biggest, names, or one of their biggest fighters. Why wasn't he there that night? But I think in following social media, I think he might have had a close, longtime friend might have passed away or something. I know another fighter of theirs that was on that card, his fight got canceled. So I don't know, you know, it caught me off guard as to why Mike wasn't out there. If he wasn't there, I didn't see him. He wasn't in the corner. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought they overlooked the guy, and I felt like Sonny, the guy kind of used all his advantages against him with the height and the reach. I think he had did he have a 5-inch reach? Maybe that was a different fight. But I just felt like Sonny's intentions was to get the guy to the third or fourth round because of all of the first round knockouts or first or second round knockouts that the guy had. But I don't know if he really, by the time, it's like he never really got into his offensive attack on what he was going to do to the guy or what he was going to try to do to the guy. And by the time he tried to turn it on, you know, Ergashev was in a great rhythm. He was already, you know, moving very well and everything and doing plenty of work with the left hand. So I just felt like they were caught off guard.
Do you think he comes back from this? And do you think he makes any kind of run at a title after seeing what you saw? Because to me, I got to be honest, to me, he looked very exposed in that fight. And he looked, I mean, some of the shots that he got hit with, I mean, I know you were watching it as well as I was, saying, wow, you know, on the inside, he looked terrible. On the outside, he looked terrible. I don't know. I mean, he looked like such a mess in that fight that, you know, if we go back to the drawing board, is he able to not reinvent himself, but is he able to go back to the drawing board and make another run here at a title?
I mean, he's a young guy. I think the road back is probably a long and a steep one, just from the way that the game works. It would be a challenge because when he was on with me earlier in the week, and you can hear the interview on my YouTube channel.
Yes, for sure.
I asked him about, you know, he's a guy, he was 8th ranked in the WBA. And so, I mean, had he gotten by Ergashev, or however you say his name, Ergashev, you know, it was very realistic that he could have been looking at kind of like maybe the winner of Relic and Barthélemy or somebody, if those guys didn't fight, you know, for the belt. But it was like it was only going to get more challenging for him. Mm-hmm. So, and, you know, we could you know, predict what we want to say against how he would match up against those guys, but seeing what happened, you know, they got some things to work through.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's probably an understatement. I don't really want to be disrespectful, you know, to the team and the kid, but it wasn't a good look for them. I don't know if he was a little bit nervous. I thought it was a little out of character that you know, like you said, you mentioned the stuff that went on in the weigh-ins and whatnot.
I thought it was very out of character. Yeah, I thought it was.
I asked Sonny, like, it was uncharacteristic. So I don't know, man. I wish him the best. I think he's got a good attitude, and they're going to give it a try, you know, to put it back together. I don't see him giving up, but you know, that's a big setback. It's been quite a few big setbacks for young Rock Nation, you know, fighters lately with Arias, you know, against Jacobs and how bad he looked.
I was going to ask you, is he still with Rock Nation? Fredrickson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, you kind of wonder after this fight if what's going to happen at that point, you know? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, he's he's a local guy, so we obviously wish him the best and everything, but man, it's going to be tough to come back from that one, boy. Wow, it was just not good.
He can do it, Eric.
He can do it. Thanks for your support.
I believe in second chances.
You believe in second chances.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Wood, tell everybody your channel and stuff, and where can we find you?
Did you the train wreck?
Well, you can find it through the through my icon right here in the chat room. Pay me no mind, and you can also check me out on Twitter at PMNM Haven. And like I said, you can check out some of my articles at roundbyroundboxing.com. And I'm with you guys. You know, I think Spence, you know, I hate to say it about Peterson, but, you know, we sat there in Cincinnati and watched the guy fight Avanesian.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him hit Avanesian with everything. And, you know, he didn't really, you know, he never really had Avanesian out of it at any point in that fight. So it'd be very difficult to, you know, to see him staying sharp enough to outbox Spence for 12 rounds. So 3-minute rounds, you know.
Yeah, right.
So enjoy the fight next week.
All right, will do. Thank you, sir. Wood, good call as usual. And I always try to retweet Wood's podcast and stuff like that. So if you follow me at Ringside 73 on Twitter, you know, we'll always try to retweet Wood, and then you can kind of pick him up from there and then follow him and that kind of thing. So yeah, very good call. And I know Wood's a big Claressa Shields fan, and I saw his tweets last night. He's very pro Claressa Shields, so I really wanted to get his take, and what he said made a lot of sense. So area code 805, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Nacho.
Nacho, what's up,
Nacho.
man?
Hey, what's up? As far as the fights this weekend, the first fight with the one you guys are talking about, Argachev and Sonny Fredrickson.
Yes.
I think the kid can come back. I mean, yeah, it's a bad loss, but I would probably give you a real recent example of somebody who came back from a bad loss, Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares got knocked out by a guy named Sergio Thompson, who nobody knew. And once people saw that, they said, oh, he's done. It's over. He stick a fork in him. He's not going to do anything. And the guy's won, 12 or 13 fights since, and he's got a world title to boot. So it can be done. It just, the big question with Sonny Fredrickson is, does he have enough passion for the sport, and does Rock Nation match him correctly as far as like the type of opponents they give him on the comeback trail in order to rebuild his confidence? Because that fight was a definite setback to him, but it's going to take him a couple of years, I think, if he decides to come back.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, and then the other fights, the Garza Hernandez, it was okay. It wasn't like a barn burner, but there was enough action in it to where you were like, okay, it was an entertaining enough fight. But I think, like you said, I don't really need to see it again. I think Hernandez proved his point. He won, and that's all you needed to see.
No, but I do think you will see both of them back on Showbox again, probably against different people.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll probably happen in the future for sure. And then as far as the Claressa Shields fight, I mean, I kind of agree with this Wood, the guy that just called.
Yes.
That's true about women fighters. None of the women fighters are big punchers. So for the most part, most of them are going to go the distance. Rarely do you ever see any of the women fighters knocking out their opponents. A lot of them usually tend to win via decision. So, but I definitely agree with you guys in that she definitely needs to work on sitting down on her punches. more often because it seems like she's got a very amateur style still where she likes to move around and then throw, move around and throw. She doesn't sit down on her punches at all. And she likes to headhunt too damn much. She doesn't go enough to the body in order to break her opponents down. That's another thing, too. They need to teach her how to be able to fight and hit to the body more effectively because she's very skittish in there. She just likes to move around too much, and she doesn't plant her feet when she throws. As far as the fights coming up this weekend, I'm picking Spence to win that fight, too. Like I said last weekend, I think he stops him late, like probably 9, breaks him down because he's just too big and too strong for Peterson. Same thing with Easter and Fortuna. I think Easter probably, it's either going to be a late stoppage or he's just going to win a wide decision because he tends to be somewhat very calculated when he's in the ring. His Easter, he doesn't like to take too many chances. So I definitely see him either, if he does stop him, it'll be like an 11, or if not, the last round, or if not, it ends up being a wide decision. I was going to ask you guys, did you hear about the oh, actually, no, wait. You guys were saying that there's nobody in that division that's as big as Robert Easter. There is one guy I can think of, and he just lost recently. But I think he would be a good opponent for Easter down the line, is Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
That kid's about his height. He's long. So,
you know what?
Like
I forgot about him, Nacho. I think that would be an interesting fight.
Yeah, exactly. Same height, same dimension, length, reach, and he's got a huge amateur background too. So it's not like he's a guy who needs any more seasoning. He's ready to go. I think that would
Terry Flanagan. Terry Flanagan, baby, UK's finest.
Terry Flanagan to get murked.
Terry Flanagan, UK's finest.
Murk, son.
The Southpaw Sniper. The Southpaw Sniper.
New Orleans, 29-24 in the last play of the game.
Yeah, it was a touchdown. Apparently, it was a pretty long touchdown. I heard everybody upstairs jumping up and down. So it was a pretty exciting game, I take it. So there you go.
Jeez. Wow. Okay. You guys were talking about they were only going to televise those 2 fights. They are showing the Marcus Brown and the other Kowacki or
Francie.
Is that what his name is? Kowacki?
No, Marcus Brown is fighting Francie Natetu, and Konaki. Yeah, Konaki is fighting. I can't remember who he's fighting.
They're going to show those 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're going to show them on their Facebook stream and their YouTube stream. They said.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why they're not using their Showtime Extreme anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it either. It was so much easier to watch them on Showtime Extreme, but yeah, for some reason,
yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
For some reason, they're going to the Facebook and YouTube. They're doing the whole social media thing now. So
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
And then, did you guys see the story this morning about Luis Rosa being killed in a car crash?
Yeah, I did, man. I saw that, and I had it later on in the news. Featherweight contender Luis Rosa died in a car accident early Sunday morning. It's pretty sad, man. The guy was, 24, 26 years old. It just sucks, man. I hate that kind of stuff, man. I remember Salvador Sanchez did the same thing.
Yeah.
He ended up dying in a car accident when he was right on top, man. That guy was a champion, and I hate to see that, man. I hate to see any news like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Because, I mean, in his last fight against Evans on Showbox last year, that was a good fight, and I thought the guy probably would have come back. I thought he would have been brought back for sure. So, yeah, it is pretty sad that his life was cut short. Also, I was going to bring something up, too. You guys were talking about the fights that were on this weekend.
Yes.
The Emmanuel Navarrete kid that's fighting in Mexico. I've seen him fight a few times. He's actually pretty good. I think he's one of those guys that, like, slowly but surely, he's making his way up the ranks. And I think he'll eventually be in line for a title shot because The kid's been around for about 4 or 5 years, and he's only like 22 years old, and he's a pretty good fighter. So if you guys get a chance to check him out on Saturday, you should.
And where's that?
That's going to be an entertaining fight.
I know that's on BN Sports. It's going to be from Mexico City. Yeah. You know, I tell you what, man, that they have a lot of up-and-comers, man. They really do. I remember seeing Marco Antonio Barrera on one of those type of cards, and he was just a killer fighter back then, you know, and you knew, like, when you saw him, he was going to go places, but you always see those kind of fighters on these type of undercards. So, yeah, it's always a good idea to stay tuned and watch those, man, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because those are where you find kind of the hidden gems that all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're on HBO Boxing After Dark and, you know, those kind of cards. So, but yeah, that kid, I think he's going to be a guy to watch pretty soon. Also, I was going to say, so has the Parker Joshua fight been finalized? Because I keep hearing different things about it.
Yes, it has been. And we were talking about that's next. But Joshua and Parker has been finalized. Yeah, so it's going to be in Cardiff, Wales on March 31st.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Good, good.
Should be a good one.
All right, man. Well, that's all I got for you guys. I guess I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Nacho.
All right, man.
We'll see you later.
All right.
All right. I think this is Georgie 508. 508.
That's him.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
What's happening, people?
Georgie.
Hey, Georgie.
Listen, they kind of quiet over there with Beeb at.
Beeb.
I'm just lying in the cut right now, baby. You know how it is.
They see all these updates about football, these Viking talks, all these same talks, and we know who the champions are, right, Beeb?
Of course we know who the champions are. When you have the title, you don't have to crow as loud as these other guys.
And Georgia, I think they are going to win it again, too.
You know how it goes, baby. We got from disinflating bulls to fucking spies to the whole nine, baby.
You guys cheating with football.
I mean,
but yo, what's up with this Lamont Peterson talk? I seen every channel on YouTube, look everywhere. I cannot find a soul going for Peterson.
Beeb just sent me the odds.
Beeb
just sent me the odds. He's a minus 3,500 underdog.
Georgie.
Yeah. What is it? Spence is a minus 3,500. Wow, that's what is that? Like 35 to 1?
Well, this is what you have to do.
If you see this man wrestling, you see Lamont wrestling on paper, don't look like a mismatch. But this is the power of the fucking eye test. These eye tests that we have a consensus among hardcore and fucking casual, whoever's interested in boxing, that just Spencer is just too much for him. And he's all eye test.
So
performer, the best performer he got is Brooke. And we can say Brooke was a little bit, how could you say, questionable going in, because he was softened out by Triple G. He already got a fucking fractured fucking eye socket and the whole nine.
Well, and then against Spence, he got the other one to match, so he's got a set.
Got a set, you know, but I mean, like, you cannot judge, like, when he fought Algeria, I never had Algeria up there. You know what I mean? Like, anybody can beat Algeria, so that don't impress me shit. So when he fought Brooke, I'm like, okay, that make it real right there, you know? But
well,
man,
Georgia, I hope for his sake that he gets to fight the right people, so anybody who does not believe that he's the real deal, he can prove it. Because, I mean, I've seen several of his fights, and he looks to be the top dog in that division. Now, hopefully, boxing politics doesn't get in the way, and we get to see him run through a bunch of these guys so he can prove, for those of us who think he is the best, so he can actually prove it in the ring.
Well, I would like to bring this point up. That is that when we see the WBC talking about how Sean Porter is the number one contender, right? And then they're gonna pull DSG right second. And as boxing fans, we want to see this unification between AJ and Wilder. So if a man like Thurman, right, which is how we fucked up elbow, elbow and knee, every type of joint to recuperate, it takes a whole year. It takes a long time. So we gotta give Thurman a fucking year. Then probably he's gonna have to get a fucking tune-up fight before the fucking Sean fight. So you got a year plus at least from 2 to 3 more fights, and then we're gonna see probably the Spence Thurman fight. So what we talking about here in terms of time? We're talking 3 years, 3.5. What the fuck is? I mean, when these people come out saying that we're gonna have to wait for DSG and the Porter fight before we can even start talking about a Spence unification, baby, that push fucking people away from the sport.
I agree.
What, we live 400 years? What's the fucking average time of a fucking human being? 70, 80 years if you live a good life? And you're going to take 3 years out of my goddamn life waiting on this shit?
I hear you, Georgie. I hear you.
Georgie.
Come on, man.
Spence is a 26-1 in this fight. You have to, if you bet $3,500 on Spence, you get $100 back. $1,750. $100 on Lamont Peterson, you get $1,750 back. It's a 26-1 underdog, Lamont Peterson.
And let me tell you this. Let me tell you this before anybody goes into that fight and comes out and, we have a Lomachenko-Rigondeaux situation. Everybody going into this fight knows how good Lamont Peterson is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. If you follow this sport, you know how good he is.
How good Lamont Peterson is. So I don't want to hear anything on Sunday morning about how, Errol Spence hasn't fought anybody or, Kell Brook was, whatever. Listen, we all know how good he is going in, and you're going to see how good he is Saturday night.
Oh, no, that's 2 solid names out there. You cannot question this man on position at all.
So Lomachenko fought
better than that. Doesn't really get any better than that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Beeb.
When Lomachenko fought Rigondeaux, he a 3-1 favorite. People were saying that
yep.
Comparable to that fight, it's not even in the same stratosphere. And that's no disrespect to any fighter.
Coming out 2-weight division.
Only a 3-1. He was still only a 3-1 underdog. So the perception was
coming up 2 weight classes. Wow.
The perception was that he was going to hang in there, and even though he was going to lose, he was going to put up a good fight. That's why the odds were 3-1. But the perception here, when you got a guy who's 26-1 favorite, the writing's on the wall. I mean, I'm sorry, Peterson's not finishing this fight on his feet.
Yo, guys, and what was that belt that Lamont allegedly left to fight Spence?
WBA regular title.
That he had a belt.
He gave up the WBA regular title, which doesn't mean a damn thing.
No.
So.
Dang, I wonder if that was a smart move, because another L Lamont career we're gonna do for him. That must be a favor to Al Heyman, brother. He has to, because if I got a belt, regardless of a regular belt or not, my nigga, that's a belt. That's a belt.
Well, if Spence is getting
almost a QL,
$3.5 million, you gotta think and some good change too for this fight. So
yeah, no, a lot. Lamont's getting paid good money, but Errol Spence is, like you said, $3.5 million. That's not bad for 36 minutes or less of work. You know,
he's gonna have to earn it though. Lamont's no pushover, but I think he will.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I love Lamont Peterson, but I think he's gonna get walked down in this fight.
What's going on with our parking odds? Anybody know that the odds on parking, Joshua? No numbers haven't come out.
I don't know. I don't know him right offhand. I got to think heavy favorite.
Let's see what the line is on that. It may not be posted yet because the fight was just made official.
1,001.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the odds they like this wide with that fight.
Oh, look at Jorge Linares. He's a minus 5,000 against Masita Gesta.
Yeah.
Look at all these fights. And you can just see Mikey Garcia, a minus 1,800 against Sergey Lipinets. He's a fucking 18-1. That's a real competitive matchup. Yeah. Rios, Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a minus 4,000. Brandon Rios is a plus 2,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Fucking 30-1 favorite against Brandon Rios. Yeah, that's a great matchup. Yeah. These are all competitive matchups, sure. These are great fights.
Where is Matthias?
These are classics. These are classics.
Not on the pound for pound, but on the rankings on the IBF. Anywhere?
I don't know. I mean, Stavern was ranked #1 by the WBC, and you saw what happened there. I mean, so I don't know how much stock you want to put in these rankings. I don't know.
No, you probably don't want to put a whole lot of, I mean, hell, we're going to have a heavyweight unification bout on March 31st, guys. I mean, come on.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love the unification, man. I think it's a, I tell you, I don't understand, for me, why on earth Deontay Wilder did not do everything he possibly could to get that Joseph Parker fight. Why he didn't move heaven and earth to get that Joseph Parker fight, to get 2 belts.
What are they going to offer, Eric?
It's to get 2 belts and to get bargaining power over Joshua. And he could have got it. And he can't now. It's all over.
But Eric, what they Wilder camp can offer Parker?
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I don't think they can offer him much.
Nothing that they can offer.
Not packing 10,000 seats in Alabama.
Looking outside.
Yeah. 75,000.
Like the guy on the restaurant. It's like the guys on the restaurant eating the steak, and then you got the bum on the street looking through the window.
Let me tell you this.
Did you 74,000?
74,500 seats in Cardiff, Wales for that fight. That's the stadium they're fighting in. And guaranteed it's going to be sold out. 74,000. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Parker, I can't mess with that. You got to go with that money.
Here's my concern.
In that arena, the last time they had a fight, it was 78,000 because they sold standing room only tickets. They'll do it again.
Yeah.
Here's my concern though, right now, and I'm gonna, because I've been very adamant about saying that I think that Wilder and Joshua happens in the summer. But here's one caveat to the whole plot. If Joshua had a hard time getting this fight done with Parker, and it was, they were haggling back and forth over the purse and the split and everything, what's going to happen when they sit down with Team Wilder? What did the split actually come to at the end of the day? Was it 30% or 35% or something like that?
I would imagine it's.
So if he's going to, so if he's going to give Parker 35%, then should at least give Wilder 40%. And if that's going to be an issue, then that, that's not a good look for.
Whoa, hold on, Beeb, hold on, whoa. What do you mean 40%?
In other words, George, he's saying 60-40.
How do I got all the chickens on the farm and you want some eggs? You want me to give you 40%? Baby,
he's giving Parker 30-35%. So what about Parker? Look at the Parker situation. If Parker's getting,
but that's a guaranteed win, baby. There is no UK. They're gonna allow Parker to come out with that fucking victory. This man getting robbed. He getting beat. no way that he's winning.
Well, I don't.
If you get Parker like 50%, you're still winning, baby. You're still making that easy money.
Georgia, I don't
know,
think
man.
Parker's going to win.
I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna be optimistic. I think.
You guarantee to come out of there with a win and with some cash.
I'm seeing it right now. The split
Simple.
for Parker. The split for Parker is between 30 and 35%.
Okay.
So then he's got to give Wilder 40%. What are you talking about, Georgie?
Yeah.
No, listen. This is wrong, B. This is wrong.
You don't think Wilder deserves at least 40%?
If they never
hang on.
Fighting, if they never get off fighting, most of his fans, the people who put the cash in the sport, won't give a fuck.
Hang on, Georgie.
Most people won't care.
Hang on, Georgie. You're saying Joshua doesn't need Wilder. Do you realize if Joshua beats Parker, he would have 3 belts? Then he could fight Wilder and become the complete, undisputed heavyweight champion. What do you mean he doesn't need Wilder? They're eventually going to have to fight.
Well, I tell you what.
That's the romance that we have at the hardcore. That's what we want to see.
He doesn't. Georgie's 100% right.
But you really think that a fan? No, I'm talking about fans. As fans of AJ, you think they will care? You really think that they will care?
Nope.
They won't give a fuck.
AJ's selling out 75,000 seat arenas.
AJ's such a pedestal, my man.
Right.
He's gas status. AJ's his gas status.
Yeah, he doesn't need Wilder at all.
That man can do no wrong.
Georgie, I completely understand where you're coming from, but from a boxing historical standpoint, they will eventually fight each other. We just don't know when it will be.
Hey, if it happens, what are they going to have? Whatever comes, they give them. That's the truth. It's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair, but that's the reality. Whatever the agent team decides to give it, either you take it or walk away, because we're going to keep filling the stadium, and you go to Alabama down there and tell fucking Al Heyman to give up some free tickets for you.
I mean, let's face it, Georgie. Anthony Joshua can fight anywhere in the UK, and he can sell out any arena he wishes. Deontay Wilder can't do that in the United States.
I still want the fight in the summer. I want the fight in the summer. I don't care.
Oh, we all do. We all do. Absolutely.
I don't care. I don't care about that.
But this is what they call the politics of boxing.
I don't want to talk about the politics anymore.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the reality.
Hey, Georgie, we have to deal with enough politics in our real life. Why do we have to deal with it in boxing?
I don't want to talk about it. This ain't CNN. I don't want to talk about the politics.
That's right.
Please.
That's right.
Hashtag fake news, baby. Fake news. Listen, man, before I'm out, bro, that woman boxing, let me get on that real quick. Listen. It's like a flower. We just planting this shit. We try to put some water, try to go fucking, supporter of the sport, regardless of the women's and whatnot. But it's hard to watch this shit. They kind of hard to watch, especially as a main event. If you ask me, I wouldn't put that as a main event yesterday. I wouldn't. I would have fucking, you know what I'm saying? Put it like co-main event with another nice good car on it. Cause I mean, come on, man. It's just like it's not that exciting. I'm sorry, man. I try to be supporter.
Well, hey, Georgie,
I'm for defending women's rights and the whole nine, but it's not that appealing, bro.
Georgia, I can't really criticize Showbox. They've been around for 17 years. They've produced a lot of champions. They're trying something new. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I know, but we need. She need a star on the other side. And who's there in the other side to be a star? To make it a big star. Who's there? You know what I'm saying? So is that flag what we got to cultivate? We're going to have to deal with this women boxing until really there's real competition that get people excited for years to come. It's going to take a long time before that shit get like, yo, this girl is fighting. I got to go watch it.
Well, yeah, you know what? I think look at it like a roll of film. It has to develop. It's got to be in the dark room for a while. We got a long time to wait before anything real significant happens as far as female boxing is concerned.
There you go. So, I mean, you got to start putting, I don't know what the number's going to be or how many people view the card, but I will suspect that it's not going to be that many views. I don't think a lot of people watch that shit. I fucking DVR that shit and I watched it the other days. I'm like, in the morning, I'm like, let me see what happened here. So it's not really, I mean, nobody's in the edge of the seat to see this shit.
Well, so I understand where you're coming from, but looking at it from a Showtime point of view, and I understand what you're saying, it's something new they want to try. They think that she's going to be a big star. Maybe she will be. But I think women boxing is still in the developmental stages, and a lot of things have to change to make it more interesting for us hardcore boxing fans or even the casual fans. They have to fight under the same rules. Things have to develop in the right way. But we need to give people time to make these things happen. We'll see what happens.
Until you don't see a woman going out there and straight up just cracking skulls, laying people out, that shit not going to take off. You need to
Layla Ali.
That shit down.
You see a Riker, his daughter. We need boxers like that again. Baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree with you, Beeb.
There
you go.
Yeah, all right.
Good call, Georgie.
My call, people. Everybody out there, support, give the thumb up, like I always say, and I'll catch you next week.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Georgie, good call as usual. Let me go over a few things, then we'll go back to the phones here. It'll just be a few minutes here. Let's see here. Amir Khan signs with Matchroom. Amir Khan signed a multi-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Sports. Khan's first fight back will be April 21st in Liverpool against an opponent to be determined. Beeb, any thoughts on this?
Say that one more time. I wasn't paying attention. I apologize.
Dare you.
Slap my wrist at the end of the show.
You know what? We're moving on.
I was replying to a text.
Wank, and you were replying to what?
The Amir Khan thing?
You know what?
I love this.
I'm not interested. I'm no longer interested in the Beeb's opinion on Amir Khan anymore.
I love this. Eddie and I were very happy about this.
Let's see if Beeb can handle the train wreck of the week. Can I at least get a good train wreck of the week this week?
Rihanna, you want to do the train wreck? Are you ready? Because I got fired last week for doing the train wreck.
Okay.
This is why we pay you the big bucks.
On Amir Khan, or are we going to do the train wreck?
Train wreck.
Let's do the train wreck, and then we'll follow up on the Amir Khan. I was replying to a text.
Okay. All right.
Come on. Ready?
Chugga, choo-choo.
Good job.
Music to my ears. Music that is
There
so
you
much
go.
better than
Good
what we
job.
had
Good
last
job.
week when the Beeb did it. I
sound like a crow with someone stepping on my neck.
I'd rather listen to my dog being murdered than to listen to Beeb do that again. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
All right, the
That
train
was
wreck of the
awful.
week.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder sentenced to 60 hours of community service for weed. A municipal court judge has sentenced WBC champion Deontay Wilder to 60 hours of community service for misdemeanor marijuana possession. The judge ordered Wilder to perform community service at the local YMCA. Wilder received a 30-day suspended sentence and 2 years of probation. Incidentally, the bigger train wreck of the week, the WBC has come out and said that they believe that Deontay Wilder had nothing to do with this. True story. That is very true. Unbelievable.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I don't know why they have a drug program over there. It boggles the mind. 7:06.
Eric, they don't test for weed, dude. Relax. He wasn't popped for freaking having HGH in his car. Jesus Christ.
There's a delay on our soundboard today. I'm not sure 100% what's going on. But yeah, here we go.
Good. I needed that delay.
You need it. Jason, what's on your mind?
Shit. Let me talk. Let me reply to Georgie before I forget. What type of shit is that? He doesn't need Wilder, but he needs Parker, who fought in like a pool hall 2 fights ago with like 2,000 people. But he doesn't need Wilder, who's the biggest fucking heavyweight in America. I don't know. I don't even know how you could even say that if you're a real boxing fan.
Yeah, the thing is, Joshua's the biggest one in the world, man. You're working on a world level here, man. I said Joshua's the biggest champion in the world right now. Most marketable, everything.
He's the biggest champion in the UK, not the world. He's not a worldwide star.
No,
he's a UK
he's definitely the world champion. He outdraws Canelo now in fights. Come on.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with world champion. He's the biggest draw in England, but Canelo could sell 70,000 tickets in Texas if he wanted, but it's just cheap there, so he's not going to go there. But I'm not really trying to argue that. But I was going to say, I know Beeb went crazy about me saying Peterson Spence last week was competitive. I think Peterson versus Spence is more competitive than AJ versus Parker. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I agree with that. I would go along with that. Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think AJ.
I think Peterson's a better fighter.
I think AJ's murking that guy within 6 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why people don't mention that Parker was struggling with Andy Ruiz and freaking Fury, and he struggled with everybody.
I've covered that several times.
Yeah.
I watched that fight. Matter of fact, I thought Andy Ruiz won the fight.
No, I just mean like boxing fans as a whole. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, great fight, Parker versus AJ," as if Parker's some freaking amazing freaking talent. Like, but I don't really get that.
I like the fight. I like the fight because it's a unification.
Good.
I like the fight because it's a unification fight. That's why I like the fight.
That's right.
Yeah, but if Peterson had that WBA belt, would this fight be even better? Or really not? Really, right?
I don't know.
No, because Spence would have no use for WBA regular belt.
Yeah.
He's the IBF full champion.
Right.
Have you guys seen Peterson working out on Fight Hub and Fight Hype? He looks freaking amazing shape and sharp and fast as hell. And his footwork looks way better than Brook.
He's a big guy, man. Peterson's a big guy. He's well schooled. He's a good fighter, man. Good fighter. But
he's in way better shape than Brook because he doesn't have to lose all that weight like Brook does. And Hunter was like, he's been in shape for a few months, so he didn't have any weight struggles this time.
Spence is just going to be on another level, though.
Have you guys seen the Peterson working out though?
No, I'm 100% sure he's in great shape. No? He's a professional, man. He comes in. He always comes in shape. Always looks the part.
You never hear anything bad about Lamont Peterson as far as not being in shape.
One thing that was kind of suspect to me about Peterson was I just kind of felt like in the Danny fight he kept getting stronger to like the 11th or 12th round. He felt like he was fresh in the 11th or 12th round, which is very suspect to me. I've never seen anybody like that keep getting stronger. And Danny was like fucking huffing and puffing, and Peterson was like he was getting stronger by the round. That was kind of and he's been popped before for that. Against Khan, I guess, in DC. So that was kind of suspicious about the Danny fight. And that's what Danny and his daddy were implying too, that he was on something or something. That's what they said too.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Didn't you notice that? He was like, dude, he was, I don't know. He was fighting really freaking strong all 12 rounds, which is kind of weird. That doesn't usually happen. And why is Beeb so quiet? Maybe he's still on this snowflake mode from last week?
Yeah, I don't know.
I went to the police station last week and I turned myself in. I turned myself in last week. You know why?
Okay.
So, I felt so guilty. I turned myself in. The only reason why I got off is because I work for the city of Revere, and I knew the cop, so he let me off. After that beating that I gave you last week, I had to turn myself in for child abuse. I had to turn myself in for child abuse. And you know what? I'm so lucky, again, that I work for the city of Rivera. I'd be in trouble right now. I'd be locked up.
Beeb gave you quite a bit.
I beat you within an inch of your life last week. I'm surprised I didn't get locked up.
Hey, everybody takes their lumps around here, though.
And tore my eardrum into. You almost tore my eardrum, but that was about it. My ears hurt.
Oh, did I hurt your eardrum, Snowflake? Come on, cut it out.
But the good news is that Jason dusted himself back up. He got back in the ring. So
you got back up. I mean, you came into the ring this week with a couple black eyes, but you're still here.
I didn't take anything. I don't take things personally. Beeb takes things personally for some reason. I don't take them. But anyway,
of course, yeah, I know.
Who's gonna?
I know now you're gonna psychoanalyze me again. I love it.
What about JoJo Diaz? What about JoJo?
Who is this guy JoJo Diaz is fighting? Everybody's saying he's taking a step back. Do you guys know anything about the kid who he's fighting?
Who is he fighting? I don't know.
I don't even know who he's fighting. Who is it?
They just announced it, right? They just announced it on Boxing Scene. Eric Gomez, he was talking about it too.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. I think I
do you know the opponents for Linares and Lucas? Because I have no idea about their names either. I mean, I read them, but then I forget about them like 10 minutes later.
Showcase fights. There's showcase fights.
January 27th card on HBO.
Both showcase fights.
Yeah. No, I don't have
HBO. It's on HBO or ESPN?
No, HBO.
Okay.
The Matisse, the Matisse fights. Yeah, let me see.
Matisse's he left Heyman.
Tiwa Kuram and Lucas Matisse, and then Jorge Linares versus Marcito Gesta. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Is he any good? Is he any good?
I think that's a bad card.
Gesta, no, he lost.
Those opponents.
Those are going to be.
But I guess if HBO will put Cotto versus Kamagai, this is par for the course, right?
Yeah, this is not a good card for HBO. Not a good card at all.
Yeah.
No.
Very similar to Brandon Rios versus.
Beeb, who did you say left Heyman? Beeb, who did you say left Heyman?
Lucas Matisse.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't know why. What did he even gain by going to Golden Boy? What did he really do in the past 3 years? Like, what has he done?
He's got some name. He's a name. He's
Vanes Martirosyan left Heyman after making all that stink, and he hasn't fought yet. I mean, you know.
Yeah, he had a rough time. He was very vocal about leaving Heyman. But
and I think he's now getting an eliminator against somebody, right? They just announced he's getting an eliminator for the WBC.
Yeah, that I don't know. That I have not heard.
And I was gonna say, you guys were talking about that kid that passed in the car, Lou DiBella, man. He has one fighter in jail. That guy that was gonna fight Billy Joe Saunders. Then he got Farmer. Then got shot, and now this kid's killed. He's had a freaking tough year with his fighters.
Yeah, he sure has.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, he sure has. Better get them guys.
Hey, if you got a contract with Lou DiBella, you better watch your steps. What can I say, man? Jeez.
I know. Fortuna and Easter. Do you guys think Fortuna has any chance? Because I think he can hit hard. And
Nope.
Easter kill that guy.
Nope.
You don't think. What do you think would happen if Fortuna fought Shafikov? You think Shafikov would dominate him, or what do you think?
Probably.
Yeah, I would think so. Frankly,
Easter fought Shafikov.
I need to say it, but
Easter fought Shafikov.
It's going to be terrible for me to say, but I don't know what Javier Fortuna.
And he already beat Shafikov.
You know,
Easter already beat Shafikov.
Yeah, he's talking about Fortuna. If Fortuna fought
Shafikov.
Yeah,
I think Shafikov could beat Fortuna.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I don't think Fortuna has too much.
Who would you pick? Who would you pick?
I'd pick Shafikov. Yeah. Fortuna doesn't like to fight those grinders.
He would get by some freaking journeyman or somebody on PBC. I don't even remember last time I saw him fight.
But again, it's styles. It's styles.
Yeah.
He's not one of the Fox Sports One
like fight like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fortuna doesn't like to grind it out on the inside like that.
You are so happy to promote the PBC and talk about how good their fights are. What do you think about them giving Brandon Rios and that fight to Fox as a time buy? It's not an actual. They bought that time.
What, Danny versus Rios is on Fox? I didn't know that. Alexander's on Fox.
That's the one I'm talking about. The Alexander fight.
But everybody's like, why would they put that on there? But I'm sure that's like one or two of their dates that they have left, and they were like, let's just put it on there. So that since Fox is not going to pay them any money for the fighters, right? Since The Fox doesn't pay any
use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Yeah.
Let me
use
put
it or lose
fight
it
on there with name recognition, and Alexander and Alexander and Ortiz do have some name recognition. I'm sure you guys agree with that, right?
They do have name recognition, but if you're gonna actually put a fight on a large network, don't you think you want to make it somewhat competitive? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would rather see Spence versus Peterson on there, or Ortiz versus Wilder on CBS. But how are they going to pay them if they don't want to come out of pocket and they're cutting down the budget? They have to do that, right? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just don't agree with that.
Because Peterson and Spence, their purse is going to be paid by Show. So doesn't Showtime pick up half the purse on the Showtime
is actually paying the PBC site fees now, but apparently the Fox part of this is time buy.
Also, I heard you say something about $3 million. Robert, that is a fake number started by. This is another lie that was started by Dan Raphael. He started another lie. He said Mikey Garcia is getting paid $3 million to go fight on PBC. That was just another excuse so he could downplay Mikey not going with Golden Boy. Mikey got $1 million.
Jason, I didn't say that Mikey was getting $3 million. I never would say that.
You said Spence is getting $3.5 million. Then he's not getting anywhere near 3.5 million.
He probably is. Why wouldn't he be getting that? Why would they lie about that?
To fight each other in unification. How is Spence going to make $3 million?
Let me ask you. How do you know that Spence is not getting $3 million for that?
You have no proof he's not.
How do you know he is? How do you know he is?
I'm asking you, Dan.
Because I believe Dan Raphael when it comes to stuff like that. He's pretty good about stuff like that. He has insight.
Dan Raphael said the same thing about Mikey Garcia getting $3 million by PBC. That was
I didn't hear that. I never heard that.
He's not.
All you got to do is it's very easy.
He tweeted that out when Mikey didn't go with Golden Boy. He tweeted it out.
It's very easy. You can get the purses after the fight. They report.
Yeah, you can get the purses.
It's very easy to get the purses.
Right.
It's very easy to get the purses after the fight.
But Beeb,
it's written.
Beeb, didn't you hear me say Thurman and Danny made $2 million each to fight each other? Don't you have to take that into account? Those are the biggest PBC fights.
I don't care who got what. I don't care who got what. All I know is it's not hard to get access. I called up the Las Vegas Athletic Commission, and I got all the information I wanted. They answered the call.
Right.
You want. It's not hard to get this information.
Information about what? Information about what? Information about what?
I got a number. I got a number on the Mayweather McGregor. I called up to get the Mayweather McGregor attendance, and they gave it to me.
Yeah.
And the purse is written. The purses are written. The purses are written right on the purses are written right on the bout sheet, Jason. The purses are written right on the bout sheet. It's not hard to get the information.
The commission gets the purse amount and stuff the week of the fight and stuff like that.
No, they don't.
Here's my issue with this.
No, they don't.
Here's my issue is that you're telling me that
Eric, let me finish, Eric. Here's my issue. How can anybody on this call say Spence is making $3 million with a straight fucking face when Thurman and Danny?
Why does that bother you? Why does that bother you? Why do you care what another man gets? He's getting $3.5 million. So what? Why does that bother you? He doesn't deserve it.
But you, Dan Raphael lying about Mikey Garcia making $3 million doesn't bother you, Beeb.
I never heard that.
Yeah,
I don't care. Nothing bothers me that anybody says. You know why?
Just because
nothing bothers me that because I don't make any money off of this.
Yeah,
I'm not personally vested in what somebody makes. Right. I don't own a piece of
I'm not either.
I don't own a piece.
I'm not either.
I don't own a piece. I don't manage.
Okay, hold on, guys.
I don't manage
anything. You just killed yourself.
All right, just listen up.
You're making a big deal about Danny Garcia and them making $2 million apiece, and you're complaining about Spence supposedly making $3 million, and then you say you don't care how much the fighters make.
Well, here's
why are you hating on what another man makes?
Deal. I said that to make a comparison, to make a logical statement. That's what I meant.
All right, listen up. All right, because I can't hear when everybody's talking, and nobody else can hear when everybody's talking.
Yeah, let me talk to Eric. Let me talk to Eric.
Okay, so here's the deal. Number one, we don't care how much a fighter makes or doesn't make. It doesn't really matter. But we have to, in order for us to give you information, it's not like we can just pull that out of thin air. We have to hear it from somewhere. It has to be reported from a credible source. And so I go ahead.
I've gotten it before.
Right. We were.
I know, Eric.
What we
I know,
heard.
Eric. But didn't I just poke holes into that fat ass reliable source of yours? He just lied 2 months ago about Mikey Garcia making $3 million.
No, you didn't.
Because Google that.
Because no one heard that.
But even still,
no one heard that.
Even with that,
no one heard that.
Beeb, you didn't hear that. I heard it. You didn't hear it. I don't care if you didn't hear it.
But listen, here's
no one heard that.
Even if he was misquoted on it or whatever the case may be, or he was, he misinterpreted the numbers, or
no, he made it up. He made it up after a fucking dinner with Golden Boy, like he does it with everybody.
Okay,
fucking fat ass. He always makes shit up.
You don't know that for a fact. And see, that's the thing. You can say those things. We can't say those things.
Why would he lie about stuff like that and put himself on the line like that? It makes no sense.
Right.
He gets the inside. He doesn't lie about shit like that.
Because
to get that information.
Like you making excuses for him like you are right now. Beeb, you're just making excuses for him because that's why he would do it, because he knows it's just like you will just be like,
how am I big deal. I'm making excuses for Errol Spence making $3.5 million. There is no excuse for him making $3.5 million. He negotiated the person, he got it. What is an excuse? That's like making an excuse that I woke up this morning. No, I just woke up this morning. I mean, there is no excuse. It just happened.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know for a fact.
What are you talking about?
$3 million at all. All right. I know Beeb's not making $3 million. Robert's not making $3 million, and I would venture to say I don't know for a fact that
neither is Errol Spence or Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia. That's
so unless you can get me a source. Yeah, but you have to get a source to prove Dan Raphael wrong now. You have to get a source to prove Dan Raphael wrong now, and you can't do it. You have to get a source that proves what Dan Raphael said, and you can't do it. Shut it down.
Dan Raphael just proves himself all the time.
Boom! Back to the sandbox again.
Mikey Garcia.
This isn't even fair. This isn't even fair anymore. This guy is so bad.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's to a different topic here.
I'm a mouth. Fucking ants right now.
Let me just end this with this. Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia make $2 million in a unification fight.
That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing.
Right
We're not talking about Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. We're talking about Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson. Here you go again. So now you want to talk about candy canes at Walmart? I mean, stick to the topic. Stop changing the subject. Stop changing the subject. Give me a link that can disprove what Dan Raphael said. Type of evidence that could provide me to suggest that Dan Raphael lied. You can't do it. So now you got to shut the fuck up. Because you can't prove it. You can't prove it. You can't.
We're gonna move ahead here. Jason, as always, man, we love your calls. We love it.
Give Beeb his medication, guys. Thanks, guys.
And again, step back into reality.
Okay, let's prove one legitimate point here. Anybody that covers this sport for anybody that covers this sport for a living and has an actual press credential and goes to news conferences and goes to fights can't put anything out without having a source to back it up. If they do,
that's
their job.
Yeah.
You realize what would happen if he lied about that?
That's a tough
90 seconds.
You can get the information. It's not hard to get.
Right.
Why would you care if another guy's making $3.5 million? Why would that bother you? Deserve it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, if he lied about it, I don't think. I mean, if he was I don't think he outright lied. You know, again, if he misinterpreted the numbers or something like that, that's one thing. But for him to outright lie, he's a member of ESPN. He goes to all the journalistic credentials he has. It's a tough pill for me to swallow to say he outright lied about something that nobody knows. You know, I mean, come on, that's a tough.
Like Dana White said. Dana White said that McGregor Mayweather is the number one pay-per-view of all time, and he said it worldwide. Stephen Espinosa refuted Dana White. And how did he refute it? He provided actual numbers. So if someone puts out false information, the person that is accusing that person of putting out false information has to put out the accurate information.
Right.
So for you to say somebody's lying without providing evidence that they're lying, it holds no weight. So Stephen Espinosa provided the evidence because he got the actual numbers.
Right.
So Dan Raphael got the actual numbers. He's done it before. Okay? I don't ever remember anyone saying Mikey Garcia got $3 million for a fight. I don't remember that. All I know is what was being said about this fight. So if you call someone a liar, you have to have proof that he lied. That he lied, then shut the fuck up. That's it.
And let me back it up with this point. I've been on conference calls where Dan Raphael has been, and he always asked top-notch questions and always has reliable sources when he asks those questions. When you actually get paid for a living and you have a credential to show up at an event, you can't make up stuff. Because if you did that and somebody found out in this sport, you would lose your press credential. The place you worked for would fire you, and you would be unemployed. You can't come on this show and say that somebody's lying without being able to back it up.
I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to end it on this. There's two people in this sport that have better access than anyone. Dan Raphael, Ioli.
Yeah.
Okay? And the reason why they have that access is because a lot of money to do what they do. Lying and putting out false information, they're done. It's not going to be tolerated. ESPN will fire people in a second. They suspend people in a second for doing wrong things. By saying stupid things on air. Suspended. Do you think they're going to allow Dan Raphael to write false stories on their website? Now, again, Dan Raphael says some stupid shit. When he makes, has some opinions on certain situations, and he throws his little digs in there when he's reporting the news, as I criticized him before in the past, because I'm not a fan of Dan Raphael. But one thing I do know is he has access. And if you're going to tell me that Jason's word is more credible than Dan Raphael's word, then that's retarded. That's retarded. Like what gives you any credibility? What do? You're a Google. You're a fucking guy at Google, and you pick and choose the stories that support your confirmation bias. You're a fucking troll. You're just a fucking troll.
I mean, well,
right, let's
Jason,
go ahead,
look
man.
at this. Look at what ESPN just did a few weeks ago, after they had their when they had the fight in Fresno before the Rigo Lomachenko fight. Teddy Atlas went off the rails and said so many ridiculous things.
Oh, how dare you!
They are paying him not to show up at fights anymore. They don't want him at ringside.
Oh,
because they got so much bad press.
Stop it. Disrespect Atlas on this channel. Who do you think you are? Unbelievable. Just the disrespect that you show Teddy Atlas.
Eric, you can't argue that.
I did.
They actually took steps and told him he's no longer allowed at ringside.
Yale had a history of lying, and it was habitual, and he constantly lied about made and constantly lied about numbers. It would not be tolerated. Do I think he's good at what he does? Not really. I don't think he knows an awful lot about the sport. I'm not a fan of his. You've heard me criticize him several times on how he was bashing the Mayweather-McGregor fight, and then all of a sudden he got a press pass and he was told to go there. So then he changed his tune. He totally switched it up and everything. And now he's being nice about it and whatever. I'm not a fan of Dan Raphael, but one thing he is good at is getting numbers. And if anyone's going to be accurate with the numbers, he's probably him and Kevin Iole are the best sources for that. They have the access.
All right, listen up, guys. Georgia, give me some advice in the chat to take control, and that's what we're going to do. We're going back to the phones. 954.
Okay.
954, you are live.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. I want to talk about boxing.
Well, please do.
Man. Okay, so as far as Errol Spence, now I know everybody thinks Errol Spence is like the best at 140 right now, but I don't know.
147.
147, right?
Yeah.
I still got to say Keith Thurman's number one, man. And the reason why I say that is because I think people forgot that Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter, and he pretty much I don't want to say he ended Danny Garcia's career, but everybody was calling Danny Garcia a cherry picker. And we all knew he was I knew he was going to lose to Keith Thurman. So, I mean, I think Danny Garcia is actually scared to fight another boxer on Keith Thurman's level. I don't think Danny Garcia is going to try and fight Errol Spence. But I do think that Danny Garcia should fight Sean Porter. I feel like that'd be a perfect fight before the year ends.
Well, since you support Keith Thurman, do you think we'll see the day where Keith Thurman will step in the ring with Errol Spence?
Oh, definitely. To be honest with you, I think the only reason why he hasn't done it yet is because he got injured. And I think the worst thing that you can do coming back from an injury is fighting the top tier competition. Even when you look at Floyd Mayweather, when he first came out of jail, he didn't just fight Pacquiao. He fought Juan Marquez. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I think Keith Thurman just has to fight. He's going to have a little tune-up fight. Then I believe he's going to fight Sean Porter just to make sure everything's straight. And I think later on towards the year, he's going to fight Errol Spence.
But realistically, we all know who won the Porter-Thurman fight. Do you really want to see that one again?
Yeah, I do.
To be honest, I don't. I'd rather see him just fight Errol Spence. But yeah, I don't want to see Keith Thurman and Sean Porter again. I honestly don't even like watching Sean Porter fight because he's just a one-way fighter. He just rushes in you. He has the same style every fight. I don't think anybody wants to see that fight again.
Well, that's the one thing about this sport. Hopefully the proper matchmakers can make some of these fights happen so it'll support our arguments either for or against somebody. I would love to see Keith Thurman fight Errol Spence. And we do have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He is coming off an injury. So we'll have to wait and see. But, one of my biggest criticisms of that side of the fence is the lack of inactivity by a lot of their guys.
Right. Keith Thurman usually only fights one time a year. But
and I hate that as a boxing fan,
Oh yeah, that's the worst. I want to see all the great fighters fight at least 2 times a year. You know what I mean? That's what I respect about Errol Spence. And I truly believe most of these boxers are scared of him because, he wants to fight everybody. He fights at least 2 times a year. Even Floyd, I even heard that Errol Spence, hurt Floyd Mayweather in sparring and shit like that. So, he's the real deal. But I don't know, because I don't know if did you see the Errol Spence and Kell Brook fight?
Yeah.
Well, I watched that fight, and I honestly had Kell Brook winning the earlier rounds, but I noticed that Kell Brook got his eye messed up really bad when he fought Triple G, which I think was the stupidest thing he could have ever done for his career. So once his eyes started closing up, Errol Spence just started going crazy. But I really thought Kell Brook could have won that fight. That was a closer fight than people make it seem, in my opinion.
It was a good fight. Very good, very competitive fight, too.
Yes, it was a
Kell
very
Brook
good
is strong,
fight.
man. Kell Brook is a very strong fighter.
Even Errol Spence said it himself. He said it himself. That was the toughest fight. So that's why, when Keith Thurman and Errol Spence fight, it's going to be amazing because, once Keith Thurman gets his shit back, gonna be fight of the year for sure.
I heard that Errol Spence, and I also heard the thing about Floyd Mayweather, that he kind of roughed up Floyd Mayweather in sparring. And the rumor is, and it's kind of been substantiated to some extent, that he's knocked out like cold Adrian Bronner in sparring. That's the big rumor. That was the big rumor going around for a long time. Yeah, Errol Spence knocked out Adrian Bronner cold in sparring.
Gave Floyd a black eye too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But Bronner was out cold, and he roughed up Floyd pretty good in sparring too. He also spars with the Charlos. He's teammates with the Charlos. He also spars with them. They're at 154. You know, I mean, so he's
one's at 154, man. One's at 160, man.
Yeah, you got to be strong.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's a beast. Oh, with Adrian Broner though, man. Oh man, you know, I really thought Adrian Broner could have won that Mikey Garcia fight.
I did too.
But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with Adrian Broner, but
he's just wasted talent.
I think. Yeah, the best thing I think he should do is sign with. I think he should sign with Floyd Mayweather, because it seems like, you know, that's where he started going downhill. He wanted to be like Mayweather so bad, and he just like. He let his ego get the best of him, man. So if you want to be like Floyd so bad, you might as well sign with him and have him train you.
Yeah, you got to put in Floyd work to be like
You know
Floyd. I mean? You know, you got to put in Floyd work at the gym to be like Floyd. It don't just happen just because you got a big personality.
Right. You can't talk shit and lose more than 3 times.
Exactly. It kind of loses its luster after that second loss. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah.
Brother's looking like a clown right now. But hey, what do you guys think about Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua? Like that's like the best. That's gonna be crazy.
We were just talking about that, and I'm not.
Well,
Beeb said he thinks it takes place in summer. I'm not 100% sure, but I know with Joshua's fighting Parker next. And then, Wilder's fighting Ortiz next. So it does line up. It does line up for June, either June or the fall or sometime in there. I hope it happens next, but I favor Joshua big time. I think he's just got more tools to win.
Right. A lot of people are saying Joshua is scared of Wilder. I don't believe that.
I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
I think Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world, man.
Yeah, by far.
Right.
Are you there? I think you cut out on us.
All right, guys, man.
Oh, okay. All right, man.
Yeah, I'm here. I agree with you guys. Man. Yeah.
Well, good call, man, and please call again.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, for sure.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Good call, man. Good call. All right. 804. I think this is Corey. 804. You're live.
Yes, it is.
What's up, man? I've been on hold for 3 years. I've been on hold for 3 life sentences.
Or 20 minutes.
God.
You know, one of those, 3 life sentences.
Yo, the real is back, man. Fuck Jason and fuck all the other callers, man. You know what time it is. You want the news, you come to here first. You want crack, you come here first. I'm gonna give it to you. But look though, man, Beeb, don't let him get you worked up, man. He's a piece of shit. I mean, he just wants you to get mad. That's all he wants. You know what I'm saying? You can't get mad over scumbags like that. He just talks.
Oh, he's just an internet troll. He doesn't know any better.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? He's an internet troll that actually got a 1-800 number, so now he can troll you over the phone.
Well, you know what? No, what he needs is he needs to be locked up in the mental hospital, and his phone privileges need to be taken away.
Nah, he needs to square up with a guy like me one-on-one.
Yeah.
Business. Yeah, but that's a whole nother ball game. We're not gonna go there. But
anyway, what's up, Corey?
So look, this is what I was gonna say though, y'all. I got, man, Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, man. I got that being a really good matchup, man. I really do, man.
All right.
I think Joseph Parker's gonna give me the toughest test, man.
Really?
Joseph Parker, man.
Okay.
I think it'll be over early, man.
Hey, Corey's good at
scouting.
I really think. I mean, Rob, no disrespect, but Anthony Joshua did this last year, so I can no disrespect though. But you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, Corey! I can't believe you just went there.
But but I'm just saying you've been on Anthony Joshua's jock so much. I mean,
hey, Corey, I'm not on his. I just like what I see. Where did sex come into this picture, man? Give me a break.
Heavyweight. How do you? I mean, like how? Like how
he got knocked down by a legitimate former heavyweight champion. I see nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and that was the fight of the year last year. Where are you coming from?
For the amount of credit you give this guy Anthony Joshua, and for him to have a see-through chin is disrespectful. He has a glass chin.
Look, nobody else has been able to put him down. You think Joseph Parker's going to be able to knock him?
He hasn't been in the ring with anybody that has really good punching power in my eyes.
Vladimir Klitschko.
Deontay Wilder, he'll get washed.
Who do you think? Who do you think has the better resume? Corey.
I don't believe that at all.
Corey.
I think Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world.
Hey, Beeb Industries, what do you think about a Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua matchup right now in their careers? Do you think Wilder will give him the business or what?
No.
I'm picking Joshua, but it's scary. I can't discredit Wilder's power. I'm sorry. Anthony Joshua's the better fighter.
Listen, you're picking Anthony Joshua, Beeb, because you see his boxing ability. I understand that. I honestly think Luis Ortiz's boxing ability is far greater than Anthony Joshua's. So if Wilder can dominate Luis Ortiz, does that show you something, guys?
Remember, Luis Ortiz is, 38 to 39 years old.
He's
Anthony
like
Joshua is like 10 years younger. Give me a break, Corey.
Ortiz is like 107 years old.
Like that, Rob. You got far greater experience in reporting than all of us. So when you have experience, Robbie, you can probably tell us the best. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You have an experience like that. Luis Ortiz is an unbeaten heavyweight that hasn't been knocked down, and he's an unbeaten, proven heavyweight.
Oh,
he
boy.
gave Brian Jennings the business. He has a reputation. This will be a great fight.
Okay, Corey, let's see if you can back up your point. Can you explain to me why he did nothing for 12 rounds against Malik Scott?
Because
Malik
Scott is a good boxer.
Like David Hayes. David Hayes versus Tony Bellew all over again.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth. Listen.
That's 36 minutes of my life I will never get back. That was the worst performance by a fighter who won the fight that I've ever seen. Give me a break.
Ask me a question, Robbie, and I'm going to answer you, Robbie. Now calm down. Listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. Malik Scott is a proven boxer. He's a boxer. He's not a dogfight type of guy. He's a boxer.
I didn't see him move around the ring and give Ortiz trouble. They both were just standing and staring at one another for 12 rounds. There was absolutely nothing happening in that fight. Eric, you remember that fight, don't you?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a great fight.
Robbie, who won that fight?
Ortiz.
Luis Ortiz won the fight.
A win is a win. A win is a win. A win is a
win. Yeah, you're going to sit here and tell me that he's got more experience than Wilder and he's going to get Wilder fits? Give me a break.
Do you think you're going to like every fight that Floyd Mayweather fights in? Are you going to like every single one he fights?
No, because I didn't. I didn't like every fight he fought.
Okay, well, you might not like every fight that Luis Ortiz fights because he's a boxer first, but he has power. Do you understand me?
He's got power, but Deontay Wilder has more, and he's going to go to sleep.
I'm not like any of these other callers. I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I'm giving you facts. He's a boxer puncher. Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, but Luis Ortiz is going to go to sleep.
Malik Scott is a boxer with no power. That's why he got washed by Deontay Wilder. You can't go there with me. You might have knew about those old heavyweights.
I'm talking about Luis Ortiz. I wasn't talking about Wilder. Wilder got rid of him in 1 round. I mean, come on, pay attention, Corey.
I told you that, but Wilder, when you have a boxer, Wilder's a different breed in my eyes. Until you prove me otherwise, Wilder's a different breed. Until you prove me otherwise.
Wilder is going to get rid of Luis Ortiz. I have no doubt about that.
I'm not 100% sure.
Wilder against.
I'm not 100% sure of that.
Sorry.
You know the fight that keeps replaying in my mind over and over is that Gerald Washington fight. That Gerald Washington Deontay Wilder
I agree
fight.
with that.
And he may have a home run ball, but if he's got nothing to hit, it's going to be a tough night for him. And you saw what Gerald Washington was completely outboxing him. And what did Gerald Washington was like an ex-football player or something like that. Had no business in there.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Tell you what.
And my comeback to this, since we're on the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder matchup, since we're on that, what about Anthony Joshua's last fight against Takam? Did he look like a world-class fucking fighter?
Takam's a good fighter. Takam's a good fighter. Takam, let me tell you what. Takam is a better fighter than Gerald Washington.
Takam's a fucking bum.
Gerald Washington, absolutely right, Eric.
Son.
Absolutely right.
Takam's a bum.
Son, you're thinking of David Hayes, son.
I'm dead serious though, Robbie. What the fuck is your eye? Your eyes are getting old, Robbie.
Hey, my eyes are doing just fine, considering I only have one that works anyway.
But listen, that's what I'm saying. Listen.
Oh, shit.
God Almighty.
I'm not trying to joke about that, but listen.
All right.
Takam is a fucking horrible fighter.
Hey, Takam gave Joseph Parker a very good fight. Did you see that fight?
Who did Takam get knocked out by?
Takam got knocked out by Joshua.
No, Takam. That shit was a bad stoppage. What are you talking about? That shit, he didn't get knocked out by Joshua. Now your mind's playing.
Bad stoppage.
No,
that was not a bad stoppage.
It was a TKO.
That fight could have been stopped multiple times in there. Come on, man.
Like
Come on, Corey.
Come on, man. You're better than this, Corey. You're better than this, Corey. Come on,
You're better than that, Robbie.
He's just using my words now.
Come on, Corey, give me a break. Jesus Christ.
But listen, since I've completely owned you in this argument,
okay.
You want to switch subject?
You've showed us. You showed us what a true
do.
boxing professional does. So yeah, let's.
Right. We got the whole Wilder thing. I'm a Wilder fan, so we'll leave it at that.
That's right.
We'll see where everything lays when it lays. You know.
Hey, look, I honestly think that they're going to fight this year sometime. I hope if the boxing gods are listening, I hope we get that fight this year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, let the chips fall where they may. You know, when it's time, when Joseph Parker, pretty much, you could be honest. Be honest with me now, y'all. When Joseph Parker fights Anthony Joshua, we got Anthony Joshua winning. You know, the odds on that is going to probably be favoring, Anthony Joshua by a wide margin.
Of course.
And there's 2 champions fights. So that's even kind of worse. So not only do you have Anthony Joshua, how did he pick up the belts that he has? I know Wilder only has 1 belt, but you got to think about it. How did he pick up the belts that he had? He fought. Listen now, y'all. I'm going to break it down to y'all real quick. And this is the realest shit I've ever told y'all. He fucking fought a guy named Charles Martin that nobody in America where he's from heard of. And he had the IBF handed to him because he broke the guy's leg in a match. The guy broke his own fucking leg, to be honest.
Yeah, he did.
So he won the IBF. That was gifted to Charles Martin. Not only was Charles Martin's expertise not even at a medium contender level, and I'm being honest with you.
He was outmatched. We all know he was outmatched.
He's a good guy, we talk sometimes. He's not even in the contenders level. Okay, so when he goes to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world, he wins it, and then his very next fight, he fights Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua knocks him out by 2 rounds, 3 rounds. Everybody
2 rounds, yep.
2. Damn. Did you see that? Did you see that guy?
Well, who the fuck was Charles Martin? You keep calling him a champion, but who the fuck is he?
All right, well, let's talk about his next one, which was his next title was against what?
There's been many champions gifted belts.
Klitschko.
Before. This is no exception.
Wasn't it Klitschko because it was for a vacant title or something like that?
Charles Martin.
I think that's after after Tyson Fury got in trouble, Eric. And
they were fighting for a vacant title.
Yeah. Let me break it down to you. I'm gonna break it down to you. You don't have to guess. You can come to Cord. Cord will tell you everything.
Oh my God, here we go.
When I'm trying, I give you facts though, Robbie. I can't say what everybody else gonna give you. I'm gonna give you facts. So what it is the IBF came, when he fought the guy and the guy broke his leg, so he had to stop fighting. He couldn't walk.
Right.
Then Anthony Joshua beat Charles Martin. Okay, boom. That's for the IBF. Then he fought Klitschko, which is a 40-year-old Klitschko, which has been stopped 3 to 4 times past in his career. Yes, he had a 10-year run, but his time was coming, and it came that night. So he beat a 40-year-old guy that been stopped 3 to 4 times.
But Corey, in that fight, Vladimir Klitschko showed that he could.
Hey, look, I can't even finish for this guy Robbie cut me off every time. What kind of boxing doing? You gonna let your callers talk, or you gonna cut them off?
Oh, come on.
All I'm telling you is, I'm being honest with you, Robbie. I'm trying to make a clean point.
All right, go.
Let me make my point. I know you don't like when I'm talking because I'm talking with you with facts. You don't like it. So listen, this is what I'm trying to tell you, Robbie. When I'm trying to tell you, so he beat Klitschko. All right, boom. He beat a 40-year-old, 10-year reign heavyweight champion. But can you name 5? Can you name 5 of his 10-year reign contenders that fought Klitschko that were actually really good, that actually went on to do something? Hell no.
Povetkin.
All the guys he fought, man, were at Brian Jennings level. And I'm being honest with you, man. I'm being completely honest with you, man. They weren't, they might have been in contender level, but they never had that champion, aspiration. He fought Povetkin, I think. I think that
Povetkin,
fought Povetkin.
Pulev. Yeah, he's fought some good guys.
I don't know if he fought that Klitschko.
He fought
didn't he fight David Hay?
Guys, Corey, but I get your point. Get your point. Remember when both
David
of the
Hay?
Klitschkos were.
So that's three of the two. That's three of the
Remember, Corey, when both of the Klitschkos were dominating the heavyweight division, the heavyweight division wasn't as promising as it is today because it was very weak back then. So both of them were able to pretty much control what happened in the division. And
listen, Robbie, that's why you're making my point even more valuable. It's because what you're saying is Klitschko he was good, but he's been stopped before. We can't forget that.
Of course he's been stopped before. That's why he went to Emmanuel Stewart, and Emmanuel Stewart was able to fix all of his flaws.
Listen. Klitschko got stopped in the prime of his career by a fucking journeyman, Forrest Saunders.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
So for all you young bloggers out there, you go look up Forrest Saunders. You see who he lost to. I'm giving you knowledge right now. You better listen.
Corey dropping knowledge.
Klitschko is not what you think he is. Klitschko is not what you think he is. Yes, he was a good fighter to the ones that were put in front of him. They were put in front of him to lose.
Let me ask you this,
Look,
Corey.
It's not when you're a champion, it's who you fight. And remember, back when he had the title, there wasn't any promising heavyweights.
Okay,
so it was very easy for him to dominate the division.
We went through Klitschko. Klitschko had his reign, but the credibility to me isn't really there. You know what I'm saying?
Corey, let me ask you.
Credibility would have been there if.
Let me ask you something real quick. What do you think? Who has the better resume, Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua? Who's fought better, stiffer competition?
In my eyes right now, in my complete eyes, and I'm weighing both factors. And I'm weighing the competition factor, and I'm weighing the competitor factor. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I would have to say before the Joseph Parker fight, I would have to say, man, it's about a 50-50, man. It's about a 50-50.
So you think Deontay Wilder has better names on his resume? So you think Deontay Wilder's fought stiffer competition?
I mean, if you take away a 40-year-old Klitschko, who has Anthony Joshua fought?
No, I'm asking you. I don't.
Because to be honest with you, what Klitschko was Anthony Joshua really getting?
But I'm asking you. No. I'm asking. But you're not really answering the question, though. But you're not really answering the question.
But I am answering the question. I did answer the question. I said 50-50.
I think you're being intellectually dishonest, buddy. Because if you think for 1 second Deontay Wilder has a better resume than Anthony Joshua, you got to be kidding me.
So listen, all right. So listen, all I'm saying to y'all is, man, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Joseph Parker. At the end of the day, Anthony Joshua. Yes, he's a big star in London, where he's from, but you know, when he comes over here to America, he's still not a big name. You know what I'm saying? You know, and Deontay Wilder's not a big name at the same time.
No, he's not a big name at all.
The heavyweight division is back. I think the heavyweight division will be back when we have a pay-per-view American star. That's when I think the heavyweight division will be back in my eyes.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
We haven't had that since like Mike Tyson type deal.
Corey.
You know, we had
good call, Corey.
Robbie just got him.
Oh my God! All right, man. Well, look, this is what I'm saying. I mean, that's what happens when you try to battle me and it don't go your way. Next call. That's what they say every time. They don't want to hear that shit. I wouldn't want to hear me neither, Robbie. When I dismantle you every time we have an argument.
Hey, you're a good caller, Corey. I don't mind it at all.
I bring up facts though, but you know what I'm saying. Listen, all I'm saying is this, you know, and I'll switch subjects. You know what I'm saying. So we don't went too hard on that one.
No, we actually, Corey, we actually got to get running here. Corey, we actually got to get running here. We're on overtime as it is. We got a few more callers. So, all right, man.
Oh my God. Remind me to bring my history book every week when we do this show. Between
Robbie
Jason
said,
and Corey, man, I don't know what we do here.
Robbie said, next caller. We'll see you later, Corey. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks for calling in. Robert, Corey was dropping knowledge, man. He was dropping knowledge. I think this is Suleiman on the line.
Look, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, he does present good arguments, but my point with the whole Joshua Klitschko thing, I think Vladimir Klitschko taught Anthony Joshua in that fight how to be a successful heavyweight champion, and now we have to wait and see whether Joshua learned his lessons properly or not.
There you go. There you go. I think this is Suleiman 718. 718, you are live.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing, Eric?
Suleiman,
hey, Suleiman, what's up?
How you doing, Rob? And how you doing, Habib? I don't know if he's still holding on.
Yeah, Beeb there.
Okay. I want to start with the heavyweight division, then I'm gonna go with this fight with Errol Spence. Okay. We have to be realistic. Okay, this heavyweight division. I mean, you got guys that are hyped. Okay, Anthony Joshua, I mean, he's too green, man. He got those belts. He's too green. He's very stiff. Okay, his competition is not all there. It's suspect because Klitschko. He lost that fight with Tyson Fury. He got hurt. He got dropped. He got lucky punch. He hit Joshua, but Joshua showed a lot of vulnerability in that fight. Okay. And I think the matchmaking that he's getting is ideal for him. Okay, that's what Hearn is doing. If he would have matched him with Deontay's a beast, bro. I mean, Deontay all he has to do is give him one concussive shot to that chin, and he's gonna be all over the place. Okay.
Okay, but Suleiman, let's be realistic here. Deontay Wilder in his 39 fights, Joshua in his 20 fights. Who has fought the better competition between the two of them?
Okay. I could debate with you. Okay, I'm a real debater. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, Deontay on the come up. okay, not even a champion, fought Sergey Lyokovich, okay, an ex-champion, devastated him. Had the guy twitching on the floor, okay, in second round, okay. This is a guy that went full 10 rounds with Andy Ruiz, okay. This is a guy that was a world champion, okay, that gave problems to a lot of fighters. This guy had him twitching on the floor, okay. Okay, now you guys can say, oh, he doesn't have IQ. He fought the best guys. He devastated this Bermane Stiverne. Bermane Stiverne probably would have won toe-to-toe 12 rounds with Joshua, with any other heavyweight. Okay, now who you want to talk? You want to talk about Eric Molina? Who you want to talk about? George, undefeated, the black Gajo guy. That guy's undefeated. He's huge. He's built like a linebacker, and he was winning the fight. Okay, this is boxing, boss. You make a mistake and you pay for it. And he made a mistake, and Deontay ripped his heart out. This is what it is. This is a game, bro. This is boxing. This is not MMA. This is boxing. And that's what the problem is, that the fans are all hyped up. Okay, they think that this Joshua guy is a beast, and he's gonna when he goes in the ring with this Deontay Wilder that is being avoided. I think what he's doing, he's making the money even higher. By him prolonging it, it's gonna make it high. It's gonna make more revenue. When he puts these two guys in the ring, it's gonna be unrealistic. The punishment, the beating he's gonna give this guy. He's gonna give this guy such a beating that he's gonna have to retire. Because that's what it is.
So you honestly think that Deontay Wilder is better than Anthony Joshua?
He's much better. Look, Bermane Stiverne was blocking his shots, and he was still dropping them. Now, that's concussive power. That's what boxing is. Now, you put Joshua in. Joshua's stiff. Joshua's like a bodybuilder, bro. And to tell the truth, I don't care what anybody says. If you do VADA testing, he's suspect. He's suspect. And that fight, he luckily won that fight. Luckily won the fight with an old shop worn man that was on a high decline that retired. Decided not to get a rematch. Vitaly Klitschko decided not to get a rematch. Decided to retire because he was so old and he was tired of the game. Okay, so this is all the hype again. Now he's gonna fight this guy Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is a good boxer. He might not even beat Joseph Parker. Okay, so you guys are all on the hype bragging, listening to Hearn's serious matchmaking. He might even get through Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker beat Hughie Fury. He beat Hughie Fury. He beat ideal people that people are not mentioning. Look, he beat Andy Ruiz, an undefeated fighter, beat him. He beat the other guy, which was a substitute, beat him. Okay, and then he went in the ring. So he has some crazy names that I can't mention. Then he went in the ring and he was another undefeated fighter that people thought he was going to lose. So he overachieved by beating Hughie Fury. Now he's signing this fight. He wanted to make sure he was going to get ideal pay, which he's getting because he's a WBO heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, which nowadays to be a champion is like you guys are not mentioning. The guy's a world champion, undefeated. He's going to go in the ring with Anthony Joshua. He has the jab. You guys are forgetting this is boxing. That jab is going to be smacking into Joshua's face. Joshua got a heavy jab himself. He's going to duck his jab. He might just ruin the whole game for this guy. This guy got injured fighting Carlos Takam, a guy that this guy Joseph Parker already beat. So this is what it is. This guy is a hype. He's all hype. I don't think if he gets past to Joseph Parker, he's a miracle guy. And if he goes in the ring with Deontay, it's a wrap. His career's over. Now let's go back to the welterweight division, my favorite division. Okay, where my favorite fighters reside, like Jesse Vargas, all these guys, right? So now you got this guy here, Keith Thurman, injured. Okay, he fought his heart out against Danny Garcia, my favorite fighter. Okay, he lost. Danny Garcia lost that fight, which that was the greatest accomplishment. He got married. He got a busted elbow, something, whatever, right? Now the WBA champion, the WBA regular champion, decides is he could have stayed there. If I'm Lamont Peterson, I would have stayed there. Maybe this guy gives up the belt, okay, and I'll get elevated to world champion, super champion. But he decides to fight the best. He decides to take a risk, okay. He beat David Avanesi with one loss. He beat another guy, Felix Diaz, okay. Look at his resume. Look at Lamont Peterson's resume. People have the nerve, like I see Habib flipping, jumping on Jason. I'm backing up Jason now. Okay, try to do that to me. Okay, where's Habib now? Why he's not doing that to me? Okay, he's talking about these odds. Okay, Lamont Peterson. Okay, he beat Felix Diaz. What Felix Diaz has? Felix Diaz got a title bout and it was all over like a pit bull against the guy that moved up in weight, Terrence Crawford. Okay, he lost because he took punishment in that fight. He beat that guy first, and now everybody's saying that he's not good. He boxes against Danny Garcia, animal. Danny Garcia couldn't knock him out. Won 12 rounds with Danny Garcia. Now he goes on top of that and beats this guy, David Evaneson, takes his regular belt, which he defended against Shane Mosley. Okay, Shane Mosley, who's going to beat him, and he beats him. And now he decides to fight the best. He says, wait a minute, I'm waiting on the sidelines here. I want to make some moves. I'm competing against Danny Garcia. I'm competing all these other guys in the middleweight division. I want to make a move. So I'm going to take this risk and fight Errol Spence, a stiff dude from Texas that fighting guys like Noé Bolanes. Okay? He's all hype. He fought guys like Noé Bolanes. He fought the IPO champion, Chris Van Heeren, which has no power, knocked him out. He fought Leonard Bundu. Who he fought? Who Errol Spence fought? He fought a damaged Kell Brooks that got his eye socket devastated by, and it had a hard time. He had a hard time, but you guys are hyping him up saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's not the best thing since sliced bread.
So let me get this straight. You're picking Lamont Peterson to beat Errol
I'm picking
Spence?
Lamont Peterson. That's right. That's what I'm picking Lamont Peterson. You know why? Because his resume, to me, shows me that he has accomplished more than this blown up. So, okay, Robbie, what are you going to say? Who he fought? Who Errol Spence fought? The only thing that Errol Spence has the hype from Floyd Mayweather, you talking about him knocking out guys in sparring? That's not boxing. So I could go in the sparring match and punch Habib in the face, and Habib will go on the front.
Suleiman, all I can say is you're going to have a...
Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to do that, Suleiman? I thought we were cool, brother. I thought we were cool, Suleiman.
No, wait, Robbie. Let's look at the fight right now. Let's look at this fight right now, okay? The guy comes in. He's a stiff-ass fighter. I've seen all his fights. He's stiff as hell. Errol Spence is a piece of garbage fighter to me, okay? He throws these open body punches. He looks like an idiot when he boxes. And then this is Lamont Peterson coming in, hitting him with body shots. He's going to dance if he's in danger. He's going to run away like he did against Danny Garcia. He's going to connect with concussive shots, hurt him. Everybody's looking at him. Oh, he lost to Lucas Matisse. He lost to Lucas Matisse that day. That wasn't his day. But he recovered from that, became a champion again twice. He gave up the IBF belt. Okay, he didn't lose that belt. He moved up in weight, beat David Evaneson. Okay, beat Felix Diaz. Okay, who Errol Spence is? Who Errol Spence fought the caliber of Felix Diaz? You're gonna say, oh, Kell Brook, a busted fighter? You tell me who has a better resume right now.
You're entitled to your opinion, but you're gonna have a very long night on Saturday.
He beat Amir Khan. He fought against Timothy Bradley. His resume is much better than Errol Spence.
It is.
Lamont Peterson has over almost 40 fights. Okay, so how you gonna compare a rookie with a belt that got lucky, that waited, sat on the bench, and he sat chit-chatting with you on the sofa for almost a year, so he could make the weight. Yeah, he was sitting on the sofa making the weight. I mean, chit-chatting with you while Kell Brook made the weight to come down to 147, and then managed to beat him by luck of a guy. He beat him because he didn't look that great in that fight.
Suleiman, if I can interrupt you, if I can interrupt you real fast, Georgie Porgy is in the chat and he wants to do a pie bet with you over the Spence fight. Would you take that bet with him?
No, I don't want to bet no pies, man. I'm not into no pie betting. I'm a real boxing fan. I want to see Lamont Peterson shock the world. I want to see Lamont Peterson put this pampered up dude that fought nobody. He's knocking out guys like Noé Bolanes. Did you see the fight with Noé Bolanes? How out of shape Noé Bolanes was? And everybody has the nerve to say he's the best fighter in the world.
I think
this clown, Floyd Mayweather, says that he's the best thing since sliced bread. He ain't nothing.
Well,
he fought a guy, an MMA fighter, and knocked him out of that fight.
It's not even. That's
not a real fighter. He ducked Antonio Margarito. He ducked Antonio Margarito for years.
But
and everybody's talking. Yeah, hello.
I think the thing with Spence. I'm listening to you. I think the thing with Spence is that I think there's a lot of hype around him, and I think the reason being that you're seeing the hype come behind him is, you said he fought Chris Van Heerden, who's a decent fighter. Then he fought I can't remember who was after that.
Chris Algieri.
Guy with no punching.
But what he's doing,
he beat Leonard Bundu. He beat guys like Leonard Bum. He fight guys with no punching power.
No one knocks out Leonard Bundu, though. No one stops Leonard Bundu, and he stopped him.
I think it's the way he's winning. It's the way.
Yeah. You want to go with me, Habib? I'm defending.
Remember, Leonard Bundu gave Keith Thurman a tough fight.
Yeah, because Keith Thurman was dancing. He dropped him, and he still went 20 rounds for Keith Thurman. That's to show you this guy, Lamont Peterson. I want to see Lamont Peterson knock this bum out. Okay, this overhyped dude. Okay,
it ain't happening.
Everybody thinks it ain't happening. Well, I think it's gonna happen because what does he bring to the game, Lamont Pete? Which fighter has a better technique? Look, the guy's gonna go in the ring. Okay, Lamont Peterson has a body attack. What does Errol Spence have? He has these open. He looks like a clown. He throws body shots. He looks like a buffoon.
Whoa!
I will knock. Young shape. I will knock him cold. He looks like a clown in the ring, man. He looks like a payaso, bro. You know what I'm saying? You guys look at the style.
Suleiman, no disrespect. No disrespect, Suleiman. I vehemently disagree with you. I vehemently disagree with you.
Danny Garcia will clean that division up. Danny Garcia will knock out Sean Porter. Danny Garcia will knock out Errol Spence. If he got a rematch, he probably beat. Yeah, hello. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, here's the deal.
I don't see it. I don't see it, Suleiman.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
Suleiman, if Errol Spence,
what you don't see? What you don't see?
If Errol Spence knocks out, if he knocks out Lamont Peterson, would that make you a believer?
Listen, I don't think it's gonna happen, boss. You gotta understand. These fighters like Anthony Joshua and this Errol Spence guys, all hype. These are like really? Remember when Trump was running for president, right, against Hillary, everybody thought Hillary was going to win, right? Mm-hmm. It was all hype. Trump came with reality, and Trump took the game, right? That's the same thing with Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is going to do the same thing we did. He's going to work the body early. He's going to pound this kid's body to a pulp, right? Early.
I don't
the same thing that. Okay. Look at this fight with Saul Alvarez against Amir Khan. Saul Alvarez or Amir Khan? What Saul Alvarez was doing for the first 30 rounds? If you guys are so great, he was busting up Amir Khan's body to a pulp. Amir Khan had welts all over. That's what's going to happen to this.
What about Errol Spence's body attack, though? What about Errol Spence's body attack?
Because he's a rookie, bro. He's a rookie with a belt.
Oh, a rookie! The IBF champ of the world.
For a year to get that belt.
He's the IBF champ of the world.
Okay, yeah. Come on, let him out. Yeah, Habib, what's up, Habib? How you doing?
He's the IBF champ of the world, and you're calling him a rookie.
Man.
He went to the UK and took Kell Brook's soul. Base.
Yeah,
this guy is a monster. He's a machine.
He sat on the sofa for a year. He sat on the sofa for a year and fought a busted up Kell Brook. He sat on the sofa for a year and beat up a busted
Errol Spence sat on the sofa for a year. Errol Spence sat on the sofa for a year too. He was inactive for almost a year too.
Huh?
Errol Spence was on the sofa for a year too. He was inactive too.
Right now for a year again. He's gonna sit on the sofa.
Errol Spence is on a long way off.
Whip his ass, and he's gonna go and whip all these pretenders in the middleweight and the welterweight division. They're gonna be cleaned out. Listen, you guys.
I don't see it.
I guess you don't know boxing, man. You're looking at too much of the gambling.
Whoa!
Look at the boxing, man. Look at the boxing, man.
Suleiman, you're one of our better callers, and you're on here supporting. You think Lamont Peterson's going to beat Errol Spence? You think Deontay Wilder is going to kill Anthony Joshua?
What you want me to say, man? The guy's all hype, bro. Eddie Hearn is hyping up all you guys. You got you guys all hypnotized. You guys thinking that Anthony Joshua is the best thing since sliced bread. Anthony Joshua is a bodybuilder. He looks like a clown in there, bro. When he's fighting, he is a miracle guy. He didn't get knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko.
You're gonna see at the end of this year, if he fights Wilder, that he's gonna prove to be the best heavyweight in the world.
Even if he blocks the punches, he's gonna go down. Look what he did to Deontay. How are you gonna defend yourself? Look at the fight. All you gotta do, have somebody coach you and watch that fight, man. When remains the fight. Even if you block the punches, you're going down. because he was blocking the punches, still went down.
There's no doubt that Deontay Wilder has power. I grant you, but I still think Anthony Joshua wins that fight.
Suleiman,
see how you what's he gonna do? What or hug him? What's he gonna do? The guy is a world-class fighter. It's a pretender. It's a pretender.
Anthony Joshua doesn't hug people. You've never accused. You've
never
seen
him hold a fighter.
Come on.
Well, he's gonna be hugging when he feels the power of that man, bro. I'm American. I'm a proud American. I'm a patriotic American, and my champion is the world champion is Deontay, the Bomb Squad. Well, that's
okay. We'll represent the Union Jack because that's who's going to come on top.
Okay, well, I'm an American, and I'm a proud American. I'm proud that I have an American champion from Alabama, United States. And I know that he's being ducked right now by all these pretenders. But when they step in the ring, we're going to see who the real champion is. And this Luis Ortiz guy, oh, my goodness, he's gonna release so much frustration on that guy. He should never have signed that contract, but he's going to get the chance to prove himself and get knocked out by the real American champion of the world. And you guys have a great night for giving me this opportunity. Eric,
you do me a favor. Can you do me one favor? Can you do me one favor before you go? Before he goes, did he leave?
He's already gone.
I was going to ask him. Promise me you're going to call in. Promise me you'll call in next week.
He'll call in next week.
Oh yeah,
he'll call in next week.
No, man, I can't believe it. What's in the damn water, man? He's supporting Anthony. He's supporting Deontay Wilder. He's supporting Lamont Peterson. I don't see either one. Oh man, this is great.
In fairness to Suleiman now.
Yeah.
I think Errol Spence is going to win. I think he's going to win big. But then look, man. Hey, Peterson's a good boxer. Peterson's a very good boxer, and.
Hey, we don't doubt that, Eric. We don't doubt that. You know.
Could I see it going that way? I can't see a way that Peterson wins. But let me tell you what: if Errol Spence loses to Lamont Peterson, I'll be shocked. But I mean, listen, man, it's not like Peterson sucks. He's a good fighter. So hey,
no, he's a very good fighter.
Let's just say one thing about that call. At least he articulated his points.
Yeah.
He went into detail.
Absolutely.
He explained
why with everything.
So I didn't agree with anything he said.
Sure.
But I respected the fact that he took the time to articulate his points.
Yeah, very much.
Came across as an intelligent person, whether I agreed with him or not.
Right.
Ad hominem attacks. He didn't just come on and start taking personal shots, whatever. Threw a few in there, but you know what? Him and I go back a long way. We have mutual respect.
No, I love Suleiman. His best line of the whole call is, man, he sat on the sofa for a year. Man, I thought that was good. You know,
at least he made an argument. He didn't come on here and just screamed and yelled and grandstanded. He made an argument, so we'll give him credit for that. But he will be wrong.
You know what, Suleiman? You can disagree with us anytime. You can argue with us anytime because you did it in a very classy way.
There you go. A few other news and notes here. Victor Ortiz versus Devin Alexander set for February 17th. And Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios, of course, is also set for February 17th. Two different cards, though. And as we mentioned earlier, condolences. Featherweight contender Lou Rosa died in a car accident early Sunday morning. So, condolences to him, of course, and his family and all that other good stuff. All right, that'll do it for this. Aren't you guys glad you stuck around for overtime? Aren't you guys glad in the chat and everybody else?
Great.
You got
it was
right.
Great. It was great. Yeah.
Got crazy. Robbie got crazy. We love when Robbie gets crazy. That's how we do it.
Again, another assault and battery case for the Beeb.
Oh, listen to
he's a fucking mental case is what he is. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Battery case.
We had the train wreck of the week already. Georgie's referencing that in the chat. We already had the train wreck of the week. It was Deontay Wilder.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, we already did that.
So when Lamont Peterson gets knocked out next week, can we have a double train wreck of the week?
We Suleiman's pick and then
hey,
Jason and Suleiman.
I love all of our callers, man.
Please, can they be the train wreck of the week next week? Peterson gets knocked out.
Let me tell you what, if Errol Spence loses, we'll all be the train wreck of the week next week. So
that's right. Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter.
I love doing this show, man.
As always,
Great.
you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside73 on Twitter, and we will see you next week.
Good night, everyone.